Do you want me to do some testings? We're live? Yep. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the freeCodeCamp 2018 Top Contributors Party in Dublin. Yeah. Here. We have amazing people from all around Europe and Africa. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. It's great. And we're thrilled to welcome you all and to celebrate your many contributions to the freeCodeCamp open source community and to your own city's local developer communities. So many of you are so critical in helping people in your communities realize that they can become developers and giving them actionable advice as to how they can do that. So I just want to give a big round of applause for everybody here. Yeah! All right, well, we're going to be streaming for the next 3 hours or so. 2 hours and 45 minutes. We started a little late. Thanks for your patience, everybody who's tuning in. And it should be really exciting. We'll talk about a lot of exciting things. Before we get started, I have some very quick announcements. Things that are coming up very soon that I think everybody who's interested in freeCodeCamp should know. First of all, just like last year, when freeCodeCamp participated in Hacktoberfest, and Hacktoberfest is the month of October. It's a big push to get people to contribute to open source. Last year, freeCodeCamp's guide was the #1 most contributed to open source repo as part of Hacktoberfest. And since then, the repo's gotten 7,000 pull requests. Yeah, so I'll be completely candid. It was a lot more than we were ready for, and we're still closing all the remaining, like we're back to like October 25th. We've been working backward. But if you made pull requests back in October, don't worry, we're going to get to those soon. And we are going to get that all the way down. We're working very hard to do that. And we're going to make it much easier to contribute to freeCodeCamp in October 2018 for the Hacktoberfest. So the way we're doing that is we're taking a lot of the existing repositories. We've got Learn, we've got Curriculum, we've got the freeCodeCamp/freeCodeCamp, the main repository, and then we've got the guide. We're working to unify these repos into a single repository that will make it easier for everybody to get the local freeCodeCamp running. And to put him on the spot, I'd like for Stuart to come up and say a few quick words about that. Let's give it up for Stuart. Stuart Taylor, he's from just 3 hours away from here, near Belfast. Talk about the monolith.
Well, yeah, so the idea, the current situation of contributing to freeCodeCamp is if you wanted to have the curriculum app up and running, and that's really, can we turn the volume up on that? Sorry, yeah, so the curriculum app, if you wanted the curriculum app running and you want to interact with the server locally, you have to have at least 2 command prompts open. So the idea is we're going to have just one command that will run the curriculum app, which is learn.freecodecamp.org. We're going to have the API server running as well. And you'll be able to, once again, edit the curriculum and see the changes live in your browser locally. So, yeah. So hopefully that'll make it a lot easier for everybody to contribute to. And we are looking forward to your pull requests.
Thank you. So yes, it will be much easier, and our efforts will be focused on a single repository this Hacktoberfest, the core freeCodeCamp repository, which should simplify, like we'll have a single contributing.md file that has instructions. Ideally, we'll have a single script that bootstraps your local environment so that you've got your database running and you've got your npm install taken care of, and so you're not having to click back and forth and input a whole bunch of commands yourself. So that way, it will just be much easier to do the first step to contributing to open source, which is cloning the repo and getting it running locally. So we're very excited about that effort. A couple other announcements. Since you are watching this on the YouTube channel, according to like the YouTube analytics we looked at, freeCodeCamp is now the fastest growing programming YouTube channel. Yeah, and we're getting about 50,000 new subscribers a month. So if you see like a little subscribe button and it's like red and it should be gray and it should say subscribed. So just click it and it should do that. And you can turn on the little bell thing too, and that'll notify you when we publish new videos, which is almost every day. We've been publishing comprehensive, in-depth tutorials on Java, C++. We recently published kind of an anthology video by Brianna, who's here, who flew in from Berlin today, and it covers basically how computers work, how networks work, how the internet works. It covers all that in a nice 25-minute, very concise video. But we also have videos that are 8-9 hours long that go into depth and show you how to build full projects and bootstrap developer environments for everything from C# to Java to Node.js and Ruby on Rails and things like that. So we're going to continue to publish incredible, comprehensive, substantial tutorials, all of which will be completely free. We're not showing any commercials. If you create compelling videos about programming and you're interested, we would love to help more people see your content, your videos. So just reach out to us and we can make that happen. But for us, we want to put as many amazing videos on YouTube as we can. So we're here in Dublin. I've got a cool sign for it. The Huckle Tree, which is a really cool hipster name. And it has a hashtag. I just noticed that. So this is a very cool venue, and they've been really cool and cooperative when you have to wire money from America and coordinate catering and all that stuff through email. It can be challenging, but I just want to do a shout out to the Huckle Tree for being very helpful and having this beautiful venue that has lots of Irish tea, which is like super caffeinated kind of English breakfast tea that I've been drinking all night to counter the jet lag. So we're going to go in a big circle. We've got a lot of people here, and everyone can take a moment to introduce themselves and where they're from and what they do for the freeCodeCamp community. And the first person we're going to hear from is Timo, aka Systematic. He has contributed so much to the freeCodeCamp guide. Anyway, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Timo. I'm from the Netherlands, from Breda, and I've contributed a lot to the freeCodeCamp guide and the freeCodeCamp repository as well. I haven't been contributing that much for the past year, but I hope to get back into it more now.
Why haven't you been contributing?
I got an internship and then I got a job and I had to get used to it. But
I'm Stuart, and I am a developer for freeCodeCamp. Everything I do every day is for freeCodeCamp.
It's good. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm Ben. I'm from just down the road-ish in Dublin. I am one of the old hats who contribute to freeCodeCamp. I think I'm still number 6 in the repo, so I need to get that pushed up again. Again, another person who got life a bit in the way, but I'm hoping to get back on it this year. So yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Sam. I started by writing a couple of articles and sent one of them to Quincy, who I was just asking for some advice. He said, that's brilliant, and actually stuck it on the freeCodeCamp Medium publication. Since then, I've written more and more articles and trying to give tutorials to the kind of people that want to get into writing code and possibly taking it up as a career.
Hey guys, I'm Jonathan. I'm from Belfast, Northern Ireland, and haven't been too active the last year, but mostly contributing to the code base and some of the guide as well. So yeah.
Hello, my name's Pete. I'm a data scientist based in London, and I write and help edit the Medium publication for freeCodeCamp.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm a software developer also in London, and I organise the London freeCodeCamp meetups.
Hi, I'm Gergely from Hungary, and I wrote articles to the freeCodeCamp Medium publications.
Hi, I'm David Kopel from Czech Republic. I live in Pardubice and I write articles to freeCodeCamp publications mainly about JavaScript and now about ReasonML, so definitely check out ReasonML.
Hi, I'm Eleftheria. I'm from Greece. I know it's a difficult name to be pronounced, and I'm making YouTube videos, so I'm honored that freeCodeCamp has published some of my videos.
Hi, I'm Evidis from Portugal. I was a civil engineering, and in 6 months I've rebooted my career, and nowadays I'm a remote developer working from Portugal to the Netherlands in React and Redux.
Yes, amazing. Hi, I'm Richard Sitole. I'm from South Africa, Johannesburg. I and with others organize meetups from Johannesburg. And I'm a software developer, and thanks to freeCodeCamp's curriculum, I've managed to break into the industry, which I at the beginning thought was impossible to do. But yeah, I'm very grateful to Quincy and the team, and meeting all of you guys. It's just been fantastic. I'm learning a lot, and I continue to learn in my day-to-day job. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the evening. Yay!
Hi, I'm Brianna. I have made some videos for freeCodeCamp's YouTube channel. I'm from Kansas City originally, but now live in Berlin. As much as I'm grateful to be able to contribute to freeCodeCamp, I feel like, as many people in this room, freeCodeCamp has really contributed to me and to my life, and I'm really grateful for that.
Hi, I'm Andrea. I'm a student, and my contributions to freeCodeCamp were mainly writing articles on the Medium publication and flooding the guides repository of pull requests.
Hi, I'm João from Portugal. I started freeCodeCamp. I changed my career, and we decided with Eduardo to create a study group in Portugal to help other students get there on the way.
Hi, good evening. I'm Johnny from Leeds. I spend a lot of time helping out beginners on the forum, plus I help with a coffee and code that we regularly host here in Leeds. Well, not here in Leeds, but back in Leeds, in England. Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Robert. I'm from Norway, live in Austria. I started a local freeCodeCamp Vienna group in Austria 3 years ago. There was nothing, so I was like, okay, I'll start it. People started turning up when we started meetup groups. I've had monthly meetups for about 3 years. Long story short, I've written an article for the publication. The talks are recorded since the last 2 years, and some of the talks have made it to the YouTube channel, which is awesome, including, which is the best part, I did a talk with my other co-organizer, Daniel Deutsch, who couldn't be here tonight, but he's saying hi to everyone. We did a talk on going from learning to code to get your first job as a self-taught developer, and it's also on the YouTube channel. So yeah, that's the most amazing part. Like, I started freeCodeCamp and studying it because I wanted to get my first developer job, and I did, which is awesome. So yeah, thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Richard also from Leeds, where Johnny Bizzle's from, the icon that is Johnny Bizzle. And I now live in Oslo. Actually, I've come from your neck of the woods. So I'm one of the local leaders still in Leeds. I'm one of the local leaders in Oslo. I also run the freeCodeCamp Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, that's me who's posting. and wrote some articles for the Medium post, and there's a YouTube video on the freeCodeCamp YouTube of mine as well. And yeah, that's about it. That's a lot.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for coming out here. You all have given up your time, you've given up your energy. You know, freeCodeCamp is a small nonprofit. We don't have the resources to fly everybody out and put them up in a nice hotel. So you all have figured out ways to come out here and stay, and that means an incredible amount to me and to the rest of the freeCodeCamp community as well. So it's wonderful to be here together in Dublin and to be able to mingle and to learn more about one another. So I think at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some more English tea. Or, I'm sorry, Irish tea. I dodged a bullet there, right? That was potentially hazardous. So I'm going to get some more Irish tea, and then we can sit down here on this beautiful couch overlooking this beautiful evening. And I'm going to try to talk to as many of you all as possible and just interview you and learn more about you. So anybody who wants to be interviewed, just kind of when you see that an interview is ending, come over and jump on the couch. I'll talk to you. Be assertive. Don't be shy. This is going to be so much fun. And I see tons of people in chat. All of it's super supportive. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And yeah, we'll make a highlight video like we did with the New York City event, and then we'll share that with the community too, which should be able to. So all of you are able to help give people some context into what they can expect striking out on their own, trying to learn software development and trying to get their first developer job. And I think pretty much everybody here their career has directly benefited from taking that jump, from saying, I can learn software development, I can do it, I can go out, I can get a job, I can freelance, I can have a career as a software developer. And it's just that faith in yourself and that willingness to reach out to other people in the community and ask for help, and then turn around and help other people in the community do the same. And that's precisely the spirit we want to capture and convey to the rest of the freeCodeCamp community, which at this point is millions of people around the world. Many of whom have never coded before and are eager to get started. So we can provide a lot of guidance for them. So I'll be right over here in just a minute. I'm just going to grab some tea. I want to have a special thank you for this gentleman, whom I'm going to rotate the camera here. He's like in shock that I'm thanking him directly. There he is. Look, he's got a stylish blazer. Yeah. So I'm worried that might fall over. So this is Matthew Potter. Come over here. Stand up here with me. Matthew braved the airlines and the airports coming over, and he arrived this morning with me on separate flights in Dublin. And Matthew's going to be doing our AV. He is a seasoned AV guy and streamer, and he streams regularly on Twitch. He has a Saturday morning cartoon. Check it out. If you ever wake up super early, just Google, Saturday morning cartoons Twitch, and you'll probably pull up his stream. You can eat some breakfast cereal and watch 90s cartoons like X-Men and Gem and He-Man and stuff like that, right? Thundercats. Yeah, Thundercats is on there. There's a lot of stuff. So, Matthew, thanks so much. I'm going to give you the mic while I get the tea.
Awesome. Yeah, so essentially what I do at freeCodeCamp is I help out doing having a computer that's sitting in a closet that's running headless and drives the music channel. So I can officially say I have the most content on YouTube for freeCodeCamp, even though nobody's seen my face except for New York in here. Damn it! I'm sorry for your loss. I'm also Canadian, so that's why the story's there. But yeah, so we're going to be setting up here momentarily for the interviews. The camera, I'm going to cut it out for a quick second because I want to make a minor modification. Anybody on the stream is probably seeing a bit of a stutter. I'm going to fix that. I swear. I'll do my best. And we're going to make sure that Quincy's all teed up because of his flights. And if you knew how long it was for him to get here, you'd be like, oh, here's more tea. Send him tea. But yeah, we'll be right back. And as I did used to say on Saturday mornings, after these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey, I'm here with Brianna Swift. Let me pop her information up on the screen for you. So Brianna, welcome. You flew in today from Berlin?
Yes, thank you.
We only have one mic. So Brianna, you have been involved with Free Code Camp since basically the beginning. Maybe you can just give us a high-level overview of your involvement with Free Code Camp and your transition into being a developer.
Yeah, so I found freeCodeCamp while I was an elementary school music teacher. I was trying to learn how to code. I love kids, I love teaching music, but I knew it wasn't a career that I wanted to do forever. So I was like, what can I learn how to do without having to quit my job and go back to school? Because I couldn't afford to do that. And I thought, the people that make the internet are probably the first ones to put all of that information for free on the internet. So I did Code Academy, mostly JavaScript type stuff, and found my way onto freeCodeCamp. I was really involved on Twitter. That was my only community because I was really kind of alone while I was learning. And went through the freeCodeCamp challenges, and as soon as I started doing that, I started to get involved more in the chat room, which there was no forum at that point, and started doing some pair programming and streaming that. So freeCodeCamp really not only taught me the fundamentals that I needed for, for development and for software, but also gave me a community and a place to, commiserate almost with how hard it is to learn how to code.
Yeah, and so you said you were a teacher. Can you talk a little bit more about like where you were teaching, what you were teaching?
Yeah, so I taught elementary school music, which was kindergarten through 5th grade. So like if you think recorders or like xylophones, that kind of thing. And it was in central Illinois, so pretty rural Illinois, which I love. There's so many things about it I loved. But the thing, as I reflect back on it, teaching from my perspective in an elementary school music setting was generally going to be the same thing with, of course, some changes over the years. But what really drew me to tech is that I can work from home sometimes. You can't work from home when you're teaching kindergartners. You kind of have to be in the room. And then it's always changing. I always am going to be challenged to learn something new in a hurry. And I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, and so you said early on you were communicating with other developers on Twitter and kind of working to build your own community and your own support network there that you could commiserate with. And how did you discover Free Code Camp? Because I think it launched right when you found it. You were one of the first few people to find it.
If I remember right, I feel like you tweeted at me. I think I was tweeting and I was like hashtag like women who code, hashtag women in tech. I was just putting anything out there. And I could be misremembering, but I feel like you tweeted at me, you're like, hey, you should try Free Code Camp. And I was like, okay. And I did, and then I stuck with it. I got lucky.
Awesome, yeah, I saw your energy, and I don't remember exactly the tweet I sent, but at the time I was reaching out to people who I thought would be good citizens within the community and who seemed really passionate and energetic. So yeah, so you joined the Free Code Camp community, and I remember early on we were doing like these live coding sessions every Tuesday, and you quickly took kind of charge on those, and you would regularly stream yourself coding. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I think my first one was with Terakilobyte with Nathan. Shout out Terakilobyte. And I was super intimidated at first. I was like, oh, everybody's gonna see how dumb I am. Everybody's gonna see that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna, talk weird, which I'm sure I did. But it was really addictive. Not only because it was really motivating, because I was, once you're showing up and people are watching you, you have to kind of finish what you're doing. But also, it's so energizing to see that other people can relate. And I found out, I tell people now, if you're ever working on something and you're stuck, I think the best thing you can do is live stream, because, and there's people here, like Ben and Jonathan specifically, and Nathan, Terakilobyte. I would be streaming, I don't know why people would be watching me, because I was a mess. I didn't know what I was doing, and they would get so frustrated watching me stream that I wasn't doing it right, that they would be like, just let me, can I call with you? Like, can I help you do this? And I learned so much in those times. Like, the community of developers is so generous with their knowledge. Everybody wants to help you. So instead of feeling intimidated about streaming, like, oh, they're gonna think I'm dumb, instead it was like, they want to help me learn and get better, and they really did. It was really inspiring and helpful.
And you took a lot of this inspiration and a lot of your early insights as a new developer, and you were able to turn around and teach a lot of other people. And the main medium you used for that was video. Can you talk about some of your early videos that we put on freeCodeCamp's YouTube channel?
Yeah. So those are fun. I think it's a really fun challenge to take something that is thought of as complex and make it sound really simple. One of my favorite professors, Dr. Robinson at UMKC, when I was studying music, said that you should say anything in 7 words or less. If you can't say it in 7 words or less, you're not saying it well enough. And I know my videos are more than seven words, but applying that concept to things like, what is the internet? Like how do all these things work? I think is an exciting challenge for me just intellectually, but it also makes these really important tech concepts so much more approachable. And it's like, hey, you actually can do this. These aren't so complex. You don't have to go take a 4-year degree to understand this. You can do this. It's okay.
Yeah, and based on your videos on YouTube and the skills that you were able to build up just learning to code on your own and through different communities, you were able to eventually get a job. Can you talk a little bit about your job and how you got it?
Yeah. So I work at Github, which is not where I thought I would be working when I started learning to code. I'm a trainer, so most of the time I'm talking to developers about how to use Git in GitHub. So regardless of what language they're programming in, regardless of what type of projects, how big their team is, everybody should probably be using version control, and Git is not the simplest thing to wrap your head around, so it's a similar challenge to these computer science concepts, like how can we make this simple and approachable? That transition was weird, because going from elementary school music teacher to working at GitHub is kind of a jump. But I think working with those videos specifically and saying, how can we take these difficult concepts and make them approachable to anybody is something that really primed me for working at GitHub. So I think even if somebody's going through freeCodeCamp, and if you're going through freeCodeCamp and you're like, I don't know if I necessarily see myself as a full-time developer, that's okay. Like there are so many places for you that are perfect for you that you might just not know exist. Like I didn't know that this job existed, but I love it.
Right, and as a trainer, it's a combination of doing development and also figuring out ways to teach different mechanics of Git and GitHub and coding best practices and things like that. What would a typical day for you be like?
It could go a couple different ways. Usually so we break it into one of two. Either I'm on site, with a customer, so somebody that their company uses GitHub. Their company says our developers need to know how to use Git and GitHub. So I show up and let's talk about Git and GitHub for the next couple of days. And we go through some projects and get everybody as up to speed as possible. But on the other days, it's resting from travel, or what I really love is working on projects of scaling that kind of knowledge. So a really exciting project that we're working on now is called Github Learning Lab. That's lab.github.com, and it's free tutorials on how to use GitHub. But it's a Probot app, so it's a GitHub app that will walk you through the process on GitHub, so you don't have to go through like all the different rabbit holes, which I know I experienced when I was learning to code. You go on one tutorial, it links you to another tutorial, and then it links you to this other thing. Before you know it, you're reading about something completely different.
Right.
We try to keep it native to GitHub so you can stay focused on what you're actually trying to learn. So we're working a lot on developing new courses for that, and I think it's really exciting.
Awesome, and one big change going from an elementary school teacher in Illinois is now you work for GitHub, and GitHub is primarily a remote focused organization. Can you describe what that means?
Yeah. So the majority of GitHub's employees work remotely, so we don't have to show up to any specific office. The professional services team that I'm on is 100% remote. I actually work from Berlin now, from my home, which is amazing. Working from home is awesome, but also a challenge. You have to be really organized and keep your own schedule. You have to know what you want to accomplish in a given day, make sure that things are prioritized, but it also gives you so much freedom. I can work pretty much distraction-free in the hours that work for me. Of course, I still have to work with my team. I'm the only one, well, there's 2 of us now on the training team in Europe, and the rest of them are in the United States, so there's a lot of things to work around, but I think freeCodeCamp in many ways prepared me for that because we were working really asynchronously. We weren't in the same office. I think things are moving that way in general in technology.
Yeah, and I'm a huge proponent of remote working and asynchronous especially. I think the ability to sleep in, and if you don't feel like getting up and then just working later, or really drilling in and using your best judgment about when to say this is a priority, I need to finish this even if it means working through the weekend. Just having that agency and being able to make those decisions for yourself, I think that's a really powerful thing for a 21st century knowledge worker, and it really empowers them to manage themselves much more than in a traditional office setting where you have a manager and they have a manager. And I mean, GitHub has embraced managers. I know initially they didn't even really have that much in the way of managers. But what are some things that, what are some things that excite you most about GitHub and the direction that the organization is going?
That's an exciting question because I think there's so many things that I'm excited about. Anyone I talk to, whether they work at GitHub or they work with GitHub, is developing something awesome. There are so many amazing projects being built on GitHub, so many amazing minds using GitHub as a tool, as a product, as a platform really, about where they can share ideas and collaborate. I think even someone that works at GitHub, what I envision for the tool is probably only a small percentage of what it's actually capable of once it's in the hands of the brilliant developers that are going to be using it. Yeah. So I don't even know if I can imagine it. Even in my wildest dreams, I don't think I could really see what's going to happen. Things like, Detroit Water Project, things that people are building with open source, taking it beyond our traditional understanding of open source software, open source education, open source, social growth, and how can we work better as a global community. It's so exciting. I hope to see that leveraged soon.
What are your near-term goals for both your time at your career at GitHub and, of course, just general projects that are of interest to you?
So Learning Lab that I mentioned earlier is a big one. I think there's a lot of potential there to just help people learn, help people teach, help people understand. Same as freeCodeCamp, right? Open sourcing education, making things more accessible to people that, I think if somebody wants to learn something, they should be able to learn it. And it's hard, it's not that easy, and it should be. So I think whether it's at GitHub or something greater than that, that's where my goals are at.
Awesome. Well, Brianna, thank you so much for flying in from Berlin, and you recently got married, so I hope your husband is, thanks to him for letting us borrow you for a weekend. And I am excited to see what you do, and certainly we would welcome additional videos on Git and GitHub and other concepts as time permits for you to create them, because I just sent out a video anthology of, it's about 25 minutes, and we put together I think maybe 20 different videos that you've created over the past few years about how computers work, how the internet works. So everybody, be sure to check that out. I think that's pretty prominent on the YouTube channel. And be sure to follow Brianna on Twitter, because she shares a lot of exciting stuff. I'm just going to pop up her Twitter information again real quick. It's just Brianna Marie 132. So thank you so much, Brianna, for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you, Quincy. Thanks, everybody. Hi, freeCodeCamp. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks again.
Thank you, Quincy.
Hey. Come on over, man. Have a seat. Yeah. Good to meet you in person. I'm going to pull up your name and information. I've got this great app that Matthew Potter put together. So just have to scroll through here. These are in alphabetical order by first name. Yeah. So while I'm doing this, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, Pete?
Sure. So my name's Pete, and I'm a data scientist based in London. And I write for and help edit the Medium publication. I've been doing that since about October last year, so almost a year now, and it's really fun. It's really interesting to see what articles we receive, and sort of curating them and helping get them to the high standards we like to put up.
Yeah, and you have written some incredibly exhaustive articles on different aspects of data science and math and machine learning. What got you into the field?
So that's a good question. So I originally started out as a biologist, and I learned a lot of statistics and a lot of machine learning concepts. But it was really interesting when I began looking into learning to program. It was really interesting to see how there's a lot of overlap between some of the skills I'd learned and some of the skills I wanted to start working with. So yeah, it's a field of sort of it's very fast moving. It's always something new to learn. It's just something I find really interesting. I've always enjoyed statistics.
Yeah, so how do you keep on top of all the rapid changes in the field of machine? I mean, it's probably one of the most dynamic and rapid growing corpus of knowledge. How do you stay on top of that?
So I think it's constant reading, really. I always look for new articles which come out. A few of my friends work in research as well, so I talk to them and hear the latest ideas. But mostly it's about reading the documentation as well. There's a balance between understanding the theory of machine learning and also seeing how it works in practice. And I find, for example, the scikit-learn documentation is really good. One, it tells you how to use the techniques, but also explains the background a bit as well, which I find really interesting.
So scikit-learn, I believe, is a Python library. Yep. Do you do a lot of your data science work in Python?
So mostly Python, yes. I also use R and SQL for sort of database, sort of data engineering style work. So yeah, I really like Python. It's probably my favorite language. I also know a little bit of JavaScript. I started learning that on the freeCodeCamp curriculum. I soon decided that web development, I found CSS too tricky. That was my problem. So yeah, I chose to specialize in data science instead.
Yeah. Well, I would encourage you to look into data visualization. I think you probably, I haven't read every single one of your articles recently, but for a long time I was the one who was actually proofreading and editing them before we published, and now we've built out this amazing editorial team, which led by Abby, and you're one of the major editors there, and it's just so amazing having somebody with so much domain expertise who can really go in and take a good look at these articles and kind of fact check them and make sure that they look good and representative of the state of the field. What is your editorial workflow like? About how frequently will you check in and find articles that you're interested in editing and publishing?
I see. So we do receive a lot of articles. There's always something to work on. I try and check in daily. I actually take my lunch breaks at work as an opportunity to see what there is and review some of the articles. And if I see one I think I can help edit and get to the standard we want, then I'll claim that article, and then that evening I'll work on it and send it to Abby for final review and publishing. So it's good. I think the main bulk of the work is fact checking, just being sure that what the author's written is 100% a-okay to put out. And a lot of formatting as well. It's one of the things I learned from yourself, actually, from when I used to publish my articles for when you were running the publication. The writing style, keeping things really concise and easy to read, because a lot of our readers are international. They don't necessarily speak English as a first language, so it's very important to make sure what we put out is accessible.
Yeah, and what are your favorite types of articles, your favorite topics to edit?
It's a good question. I really like some more general articles, like really sort of like overviews of like wide topics. I think there's a balance as well. I mean, I really like in-depth tutorial articles as well, where you can really see at the start what you're going to build and follow them along and see how something works in practice. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's hard to pick an exact type of article I really like. I think, yeah, we receive a lot of very varied and very interesting articles.
Aside from contributing to freeCodeCamp and editing and writing so many great in-depth articles on statistics and data science and machine learning, what are your goals for the rest of 2018 and 2019?
So the company I'm working at, we're a startup, and we've recently announced and launched some really exciting products. We actually teach kids how to code, and we produce computer kits, and we've got some really exciting products coming out. So yeah, we're looking to sort of ship those, and that's what I'm working on in 2018.
Awesome. And tell me just a little bit more about that. Like, do you have like hardware products, or yeah?
Yeah. So we produce the hardware. So we have computer kits and a wand kit, and we also have a software ecosystem as well. So people can go in and they can learn to code, and they can share their creations on this online community we have. And it's really interesting. There's a lot of synergy between what I work on for my day job and what freeCodeCamp is setting out to achieve as well. So yeah, I really enjoy spending all my time doing that basically.
Awesome. If people were interested, and I'm not sure whether the product is totally ready for people to go and buy for their schools or for their kids, but if they wanted to learn more about the company and what you all are up to, what's the name of the company and where can they find it?
Sure. We're Kano. We're at kano.me, and we're also in retail in the US. So yeah.
Can you spell the domain?
KANO.me.
Okay, great. KANO.NE. .me. Okay, Kano.me.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And thank you again so much for everything you've done for the community. It's always a pleasure. You always take such a detailed, nuanced look at articles, and it really shows. And your articles have been so in-depth, and I often pull them up, and when people submit articles, and I'm like, well, take a look at this. This is a good example of what works on Medium and what works with the developer crowd. So thank you again for kind of setting, like really trailblazing and setting a really good example for other technical writers and developers.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. So I'm going to pop Peter's information back up. Okay, thank you. And we're joined here, Richie. How's your last name pronounced?
Sitole.
Sitole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy enough, right?
Yeah, Richie Sitole. Have a seat, Richie.
Are we allowed to bring my
Yeah.
Irish tea?
Your Irish tea, indeed, yeah. Welcome. So you're joining us from Johannesburg?
Johannesburg, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for flying out, man. I mean, I think you may have traveled, I don't know, you may have traveled even farther than I did.
Yeah, I think it's it's all in all it was about 14 hours, with about 4 hours layover in Addis Ababa. So yeah, but just over 10 hours, but it felt like 12 days. Yeah, I was slightly exhausted when I arrived, but it was all good. So far it's been amazing. I love the atmosphere. I love the 4 seasons in one morning, which is what we experienced yesterday when I arrived. So like I landed around 6:30 in the morning, and on my way here, on my way to where the guest house is, it was nice and cloudy. It was a little bit cloudy. It was comfortable, and the clouds opened up. It was nice and sunny, and then shortly after that, it just started raining out of nowhere. I was like, what the hell is going on here? And then shortly after that, it was like massive winds and stuff. So it seems to be like people are used to this stuff. So yeah, I'm just taking it in as I go along. How was your flight?
It was arduous. So I woke up at 6 a.m. Friday morning, U.S. time. Then I flew to Newark, which is like New Jersey, and then I waited there all day, and then I was able to fly to Reykjavik in Iceland. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And then flew here, and I just arrived a few hours ago. So I slept on the plane. I took a little power nap, and it was really funny because Matthew Potter was joking. I was like, "Yeah, wake me up before you go," and he said, "Oh, you want me to wake you up with 'Wake Me Up Before I Go'? You know, the Wham song." And he has this super powered laptop. I don't know what it is. It's incredibly loud. So I'm sleeping, and all of a sudden I hear, "Jitterbug. Jitterbug." And then he starts playing the song really loud. And I was like, wait. I mean, it was the perfect way to wake up because I swear, like, there was like a party outside the room. So so I just took a shower and I was good to go. But now I'm drinking my Irish tea, and that's helping wake me up. Yeah. But yeah, man, thanks so much for flying out. So tell us a little bit about what you do. You do many things within the Free Code Camp community. Just give us an overview of some of the things you do.
Yeah, so I mean, we met a couple of years back. Free Code Camp was still in its early days and stuff. So what I do currently is basically run meetups. I'm a co-admin for Free Code Camp Johannesburg. There's a couple of other guys that some came and went, and some are still there, but some are dormant, some are active when needs be. But I'm generally organize stuff and host the meetups themselves. And it's quite funny and it's very interesting. Like, I mean, we've got a community of about 1,500 people, and we get at least one someone asking to join like on a daily basis. It's just insane, which is amazing. So which means that the word is getting out there and people are recognizing what we're doing and they actually see the value in what we're doing, which is fantastic. So like, I mean, and then the funny thing is that, so you'll put up like create an event on Facebook, in our Facebook group. So it's Free Code Camp Johannesburg on Facebook. Go check it out. We're having our next meetup at the end of this month, 29th of August. We're in, yeah. Anyway, so like you'll have a couple of people just like RSVP and they get all hyped up and excited, like, yeah, we want to do this. And then next thing you get like 5 or 8 people turn up. But it's for me personally, like it's those sessions that I really appreciate and really enjoy, because you sort of like sieve through, like I don't know how to put it, but like it's the people that end up eventually coming, it's people that are truly passionate and really, really believe in, what Free Code Camp is, offering is. And it sort of like reminds me of myself, like pretty much like 2-3 years ago when I started. I was that guy pretty much. Like I would rock up, and I could be like me and a couple of other people. But like for me, it was just, like just getting in a lot of information, getting as much information as possible about, software development. And as far as, I mean, you would obviously know that, the learning never stops, right? So like I really appreciate people that make it to the meetups. Granted, I understand some people cannot make it. They'll have other plans or something comes up and so that sort of thing. So I get all of that, but I just shout out and say thank you to the people that constantly come to our meetups. And funny enough, I'll tell you just a side story about that. So we had a party at my company a couple of weeks ago. And I mentioned to one of the top guys, and I said, I'm going to Dublin in a couple of weeks' time. They're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, so what are you going to do there? And then I obviously had to tell the whole story about Free Code Camp and whatnot. And they were like, mind blown. They're like, what? Why didn't you tell us you're doing this stuff? I'm like, I told you guys, but you didn't take me serious. So they were all ecstatic and excited about it. And I remember one of the top guys there, Jimmy, he's like, no, dude, like, seriously, when you come back, like, don't you worry about the next venue. You can totally use our office. We'll even organize coffee for you guys. I'm like, yay. So I'm definitely going to take him out. Jimmy, I'm going to take you up on that offer, okay? So yeah, now the community is growing, and we see a lot of people coming in. I mean, just trip coming here. I met a couple of guys in OR Tambo, which is our international airport in Joburg. The one guy, actually, he was coming to meet his future colleagues. He got a job offer here in Dublin as a back-end developer. But like, so we obviously told him the reason why I was traveling to Dublin as well. And he was also like, and it's so funny, like when I explain the story, because I'm so passionate about it, but when it finally hits the chord and you see people's eyes, they just like dilate for a second there, and they're like, wow, that is just amazing. Like, how come I've never heard about this thing? So we obviously exchange numbers and whatnot, and he's like, no, I need to get my cousin into this thing. And this, what I just told you now, like, it happens so often. And I love telling this story because I truly believe in it. I've been in it, I mean, it's been like almost 3 years now, right?
You're one of the earliest campers.
Yeah, and I still feel like looking around here and seeing these guys, I mean, just doing some incredible work, and I'm very passionate about it. I just want to see the next FreeCodeCamp 2.0, 2.3.0, whatever, how far we can take this thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're building an events platform that'll make it easier for people in Johannesburg when they're just using FreeCodeCamp it'll remind them, hey, there's an event in at the nearby office where you're having your next event. So I'm optimistic that will help even more people who are already in Johannesburg who don't realize that you're having all these in-person events that will help get them involved as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's it's another aspect of it. I mean, it's we were talking about like how else myself and Evidence we were talking about how else we can contribute. Like, is this all we can do? Is that like how do we take it to the next level? And I was like, my response to that was like, well, that's a very good question, brother. What do you think? And he's over there, so he gave me his peace of mind. But like, for me, I think for now is like we need to continue doing what we've been doing, because personally, I mean, for me, like, the reason why I believe in this and why I'm still doing what I'm doing now, is that I see value in this. I truly believe like this is one way that we can, and I know it sounds very like up in the sky, but like I really believe like this is one way of actually tackling poverty. And I see people that are frustrated in their jobs, people that they just, they just go to work just for the heck of it, but they don't enjoy it. And for me, I strongly believe in that. Like, you have to really enjoy what you do. And I absolutely love what I'm doing right now, thanks to Free Code Camp. And I think the way, just back to my original point, was that how to take it forward is, first of all, we need to keep doing what we're doing, don't drop the standard. And obviously think of other ways of how we can improve it. Whether it's, I don't know, like just maybe writing articles. If you would say you were doing like YouTube stuff or you hosting meetups, maybe just think of other ways of contributing more, or at least getting other people to feel the same passion that you have, so that they can also continue and contribute to the platform in different ways.
Yeah, and if for those of you who are watching who are interested in some ways you can contribute, aside from leading local study groups, which I think is probably the most important and immediate thing, because that way you're able to actively get people in your community, reach out to your neighbors and your friends and get them into coding. This is a skill that I encourage everybody to pick up, even if you don't envision yourself working as a software engineer at some point in the future. These skills are going to be incredibly helpful regardless what your career is. So by running local study groups like you're doing in Johannesburg, you can really bring a lot of people in. Just get them some basic exposure, and so they even realize that this is a skill they can learn and build up their confidence. So I would say some ways that your community can absolutely help would be adding captions and subtitles. I know most people in South Africa speak English, but you also have Afrikaans, and there are other local languages that some people in your study group may know. That would help, and of course, creating more articles and creating videos. Those would all be tremendously helpful.
No, absolutely. And funny you mentioned that not so long ago, in fact, I think in preparation of the next meetup, a lady commented on a Facebook group, and her question was, are your meetups suitable for kids? And like that caught me off guard, because like, it's not something that someone asked just like that, and it was like, and I didn't respond immediately. I just thought about it for a second. I think I probably slept on it. I don't remember exactly, but my response to her was very simple. I said, look, if a person who wants to come to our meetups, as long as they can read and write, I think they're good to go. And I strongly believe in that. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like, I think there's no age limit when it comes to learning, and specifically software development. As long as you can look at code and you can read and you can write, I strongly believe that you can actually manage to learn and code. So my advice was basically like, look, maybe just come, because she hasn't been to the meetup. I said, look, just come to our next meetup, check it out, and if you think it's suitable for your son or daughter, then you can invite them for the next meetup. And she's like, no, well, that's a good answer. So hopefully we'll see her at the end of this month, and hopefully we'll see some kids coming up in the in the next meetups. But yeah, it's just been incredible. I mean, the last year I think we've done more meetups than we have. There was a period where we didn't have as many meetups, but then I always take cue from the community, from the members of the group. So whenever someone says, "Hey, when is the next meetup?" I'll quickly jump in. I'm like, "Are you interested? Should we do it?" And then we just put it together, and that's how we roll. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to obviously like continuing having like a more regular cadence, and yeah, because and also another request that came in one of our last meetups was one of the members said they would like to have more technical meetup. So I think with the offer that I got from my company to have the next meetup in the offices, that will give us the space and the environment for for something like that to happen. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on getting your company on board as like a venue sponsor. And yeah, I totally agree. I think if kids are mature enough to come, freeCodeCamp as a community is really aimed at adults primarily. There are other great initiatives like Code.org, Khan Academy, and especially Coder Dojo. I love what Coder Dojo is doing, and Hack Club is another good one that's focused at the high school level. But we aim to make these events totally acceptable for kids. We want to keep them professional and friendly and welcoming. So yeah, absolutely. If somebody has a kid and that they're confident their kid will have a good time and get a lot out of it, I would encourage them to bring it. Richie, it's been such a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for flying out here. And congratulations on all your recent achievements, your job, and how you're leading the community. It's amazing, and I think you're really setting an example for so many people around the world who want to create local study groups and help people in their communities learn to code.
It's only a pleasure, Quincy. Like I just was thinking the other day, like we met like just a couple of years ago, and it's our relationship has grown and the community has grown, and I love everything that yourself and the team have been doing, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the future and to freeCodeCamp.
Thanks again.
Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah,
Awesome.
likewise. Bring it in.
Awesome.
Cheers. Hey.
Hey, Quincy.
Hey,
Thanks
pleasure.
for having me.
Absolutely. Well, David, you are a prolific writer, among other things, and I think you have a very interesting background. Can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and how you got into coding and writing about code?
Okay. First of all, Quincy, I'm really grateful to you that you created freeCodeCamp, because I think it was really the major helper for me to switch my careers. Because as you mentioned, I was working as a lawyer. I have a law degree, and then I was working as a lawyer for 2 years. But then I got eventually a little bit frustrated, and I was wondering what to do next. So I was checking online courses and stuff. And funny thing, first I checked some Harvard course about cooking, about molecular gastronomy, and I spent like 3 months doing that. But I said to me, okay, I cannot be cook because I'm sweating, and in the kitchen there's a lot of hot in here, so I couldn't cook. So I tried to watching for something else, and then I find first some course on Udemy about programming in CSS, HTML, and JavaScript, and I tried that. But then it was just a tutorial, building things that other people built. So it was it was great. I got motivated, but it was just the first level. And then I discovered freeCodeCamp and those algorithms, and it was basically a different dimension for me, because before I was just creating stuff according to tutorials. But with the algorithms, I need to really understand. And at first I got really frustrated because I think, oh my God, it's so difficult, I cannot be developer. But then it really just was better and better, and finally I got really confident. And really, I started learning to code during the weekends and on the evenings. And eventually it took me 7 months to switch from a lawyer to developer, just coding on the weekends and the night. So I'm really grateful for freeCodeCamp, because it really motivated me to see all the people doing the same thing. It's also why I decide for contributing for freeCodeCamp by writing articles, because a freeCodeCamp community helped me to become developer, and I also wanted to contribute to it by by showing people concepts that were difficult for me. So I try to like describe them in a way that are more understandable for me and in a way that I want them to see them when I learn them, because there were no resources before. Yeah, and that's, I think, the part of my story. And maybe just the main thing what I decided to switch the careers was that as a lawyer I didn't see the results of my work. And as a programmer, I mean, you write console.log and you see the result. It's so motivating. You just write code and you see the result. I love this, and this is why I love programming.
Yeah, with programming, there's a very tight feedback loop. You can, at any point, you can see what the effect is. You can push an application live and look at your analytics and see people are using it, how people are using it. It's unlike any other field, really. I mean, you could argue that in teaching you can see, the students' faces and whether they're comprehending things and see them turn around and apply it. But there are very few fields where you can immediately get so much feedback on your work. I just want to underscore the magnitude of your accomplishment, David, because you said in 7 months, just studying nights and weekends while working as a lawyer, full time, you were able to transition into tech. And tell us a little bit about what you're doing now.
Okay, now I work as a JavaScript developer for the digital agency in Prague called Blueberry, and doing typical front-end stuff. I'm working with React most of the time, and now I will basically maybe start with a Vue as well. So I'm really looking forward to it because I never do it, and I'm also pretty excited about ReasonML.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty excited that in my company we have an internal project so you can try different technologies, and we were also able to do it in a company and build our Reason application called Planning Poker, about Scrum, where you do planning poker, and build application for that. So it was really interesting. And another thing I love about programming is that the way how it progresses. I mean, when I started programming, there was jQuery and Angular. Okay, that's some React, I know what it is, and basically it was so fast, and now I like how it's moving forward. My to-do list, it's so long and I never be able to try all the technologies, but I love all the people who love what they do and you can learn from them. So and you ask what I do. Yeah, also write, as I mentioned, blog posts for Medium publications, and it's really helped me. It helps me and the audiences, because for me, when I code something, when you code something, you basically don't care about many things. You just said, okay, it works, so that's good. But when you write a blog post about it, you need to really understand. You need to go deeper. And eventually, after that, I even start going to conferences and speak about programming, and that really helps me even more, because at a conference we have QA, right? Q&A, people might ask you, and it's most stressful thing for the first time, because you need to go really deep, because people might ask you different questions. So, what I really love about all this stuff, freeCodeCamp conferences, that I learned something and I share with us, and the thing that I just learned it makes, I think, more approachable for other people, because I'm on this level, they are on the level I were before, so I'm not that on the high level, so I can understand how they need to learn, so that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's great. So essentially what you're doing by writing these articles and giving talks at conferences is you're almost overtraining to make sure you really have mastered something so well that you can explain it. And it's interesting because we were just talking with Brianna a minute ago, and she said, you don't really understand something until you can explain it in 7 words.
And that's absolutely true. Because so much often when I write article, I just got stuck and I was thinking, why is it working? I mean, why? And it really forces you, because you need to understand to some person who doesn't know so many stuff like you do, because you are into the topic. You need to really write it in an understandable way. That's why I think it's challenging for you to learning new technology, because sometimes there are not enough resources, and these resources are often written by people who are really good at it. But sometimes for you as a beginner, it's more challenging. So that's why I'm trying to write it for most approachable as I can. That's why I'm kind of perfectionist. So when I write article, okay, I write it. It's not complicated, but I spend so much time just to rereading it, sending to my colleagues for proofreading. It's really, writing article is not the most difficult part. The difficult part is just to make it approachable for people coming from different levels of their knowledge.
Well, thank you so much, David, for all your amazing articles that you've contributed. And I've enjoyed reading so many of them. And of course, I'm very inspired by your just rapid transition from working as a lawyer to working as a developer and working with all these cutting edge tools. You know, Reason ML, very exciting stuff. You said you're getting ready to learn some Vue. So we hope that you'll continue to write these amazing articles.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm looking forward. I was also playing with the idea to make some screencasts, and I was discussing with other people here, and I think it will be really useful. And again, Quincy, thank you very much for the freeCodeCamp, because it makes a really difference for people like on the whole planet, I think.
Well, thank you so much. That means so much to me, and I hope you have a wonderful time in Dublin. Are you gonna come run with us tomorrow?
I hope so. I have my running shoes, running T-shirt, and half of my luggage is just running stuff. So I guess I should, because I just brought so much stuff with me.
Well, great. Hopefully it'll be nice and cool here. The weather is very dynamic in Dublin.
Tomorrow it should be nicer. I just checked the weather, and it should be like not so many clouds. So.
All right. Well, great. I'm looking forward to running around Phoenix Park with you tomorrow.
Oh, me too.
Cheers.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise. Thanks again, David.
Bye.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Hey, James Phillips, thank you. Doing my best. And next, we have a man whom I have worked very closely with for years.
Yeah.
Evaristo.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making it out here. And perhaps you can just give us, I'll give you a very quick introduction. So Evaristo has basically been leading freeCodeCamp's data science effort. He is one of the most prominent people in the data science chat room on Gitter, and he's done a number of different analyses, both on Medium and on Kaggle, of different data sets we've made public. Of course, when we make data sets public, we're very responsible about the disclosure and cognizant of privacy concerns and things like that. So we have these huge public data sets, and Evaristo has analyzed them extensively. Thank you for joining us, Evaristo.
Yeah. No, not Evaristo. I'm Eduardo.
Eduardo, sorry.
Yeah. I'm Eduardo Vidis from Portugal.
I'm sorry, I got mixed up.
You mixed up.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about, oh man, I feel so embarrassed. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what you're working on out in Portugal, Eduardo, and you're leading the study group there.
Well, I first knew freeCodeCamp in the beginning of 2017, and I was a civil engineering, and I was not happy with my career. I wanted to reboot into programming, and when I met freeCodeCamp, I met the right path to start learning how to program. I've tried a lot of boot camps without effort, but with freeCodeCamp it was very, very easy to follow up, and at the same time that I was studying, I started to motivate people to study with me. I started at the same time as João Henrique, and together we started the study group in our city, and we impulsionated also the starting of the study group in Lisbon, the capital of Portugal, and we are doing that effort every week. Even after we got our jobs. Yeah, I've rebooted my career in 5 months, studying more or less 10 hours per day, but it was it was 5 months, and I got from civil engineering to a front-end developer.
Yeah, and so Eduardo, you said within 5 months you were able to transition from civil engineer to developer, just studying on your own?
Yeah, correct. Because when I found freeCodeCamp, I found the right path. I was in a big doubt of what I should study first and what I should study after that. And with freeCodeCamp, I got the correct path, and I followed that path, and it worked very well. I also got a mentor. Thank you, Miguel Coque, for supporting me. Mentor he was very helpful in my study. And I got the job very quick with his help and with the help of freeCodeCamp.
Yeah. So, even though you've gotten a full-time job and you've made the successful transition, you're still giving back to the community and you're still helping run the local study group. Talk a little bit about the group and how your leadership of it.
Of course, we have two main events. We have one event that we call the social event, where we try to join the local community of senior programmers with the students, and we have a second event called the study group, where we focus just on solving challenges, and it's working great. It's amazing how people are motivating and are studying and are growing with us step by step, and when they are ready to enter in the market, we have jobs for them, really. Yeah, it's great. It's amazing.
Yeah. So, when you say people are able to enter the job market, how many people within your study group have gotten developer jobs, do you think?
Yeah. First, Quincy, let me tell you that we are in the south of Portugal, so it's a small town, like 50,000 inhabitants, and in the last year we got five developers ready to start working, and they started working. So I think it's a nice percentage.
So basically, 1 out of 10,000 people in your town has gotten a developer job, thanks largely to your efforts and your community outreach.
Also, after that, I started writing on Medium because I felt the need to contribute more to freeCodeCamp. So I started to write about React. That's the main area in which I'm working nowadays.
Yeah. Well, thank you for writing these articles. So in Portugal, of course, you speak Portuguese, and it's also a huge language in Brazil. And Brazil is, I think, the third largest country for freeCodeCamp in terms of total number of people who use it. And frequently I talk to developers from Portugal, from Brazil, and other Portuguese-speaking countries, and there's definitely a strong desire to be able to read about technical concepts in their native Portuguese. And since you've already started writing articles, I'm just going to put this out there. Eduardo, would you be interested at some point in potentially writing articles about technology in Portuguese?
Yeah. Of course, totally agree with that. I want to start writing in Portuguese for the big communities that we have, because Portuguese is the 5th most spoke language in the world. But at the same time, I feel the need to motivate people to learn English, because when you start working in a remote team or something like that, you need to interact with people from all over the world. So, in spite of having a way to learn in Portuguese, you also need to train your English skills. I think that's important to train your English skills. Yeah.
Of the people in your study group that are getting jobs, how many of them are getting jobs at local companies versus, I don't know, how many multinational corporations and have like branches there, but what would you say the ratio of like local employers and small businesses versus multinational employers?
Okay, basically Portugal is very trendy now, so I have some difficulty to do this calculus, but I can say that 3 in 2 get remote jobs in the north of Europe. So 2 are working locally, but basically that 2 local companies are startups that are based on Germany or in the Netherlands or in Sweden. So I think we can speak of 100% of internationalization.
That's great. Well, what are some of your goals now that you've gotten a developer job, you've gotten this community running, you've proven out the notion that people can come into your community, they can learn to code, you will help them build up their skills, help them build up their network, and that they can get jobs. Now that you've proven that, and you have this proven path to help people in your community get developer jobs, what are your goals for the near future?
Well, for the near future, I have 2 main goals. One is to become a senior developer in my team, contributing more for the future of the architecture in the web application. But in a second plan, not less important than the first, I want to continue thriving and to motivate people to learn how to program on freeCodeCamp. I will say I'm a freeCodeCamp evangelist because I really believe in freeCodeCamp, because I've tried a lot of other boot camps and I didn't have success, and I think freeCodeCamp has the main ingredients to turn you into a successful programmer in less than 1 year. Yeah, so I think people should try freeCodeCamp. They should join. They should try the challenge. They need to speak with people and to surpass the challenges and to learn how to program. They have everything, every tool they need. It's on their hand at the first moment they sign up to freeCodeCamp.
All right, well, thank you so much, Eduardo, for joining us.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for my English. I'm not a native speaker.
Your English is excellent.
Thank you very much. Miguel Coque, thank you very much. Mr. Larson, you are great.
Yeah.
It was nice to meet
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll see you. Are you going to come run with us tomorrow?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, we'll have fun running tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. Awkward fist bump. All right, next. Robert. Have a seat, man.
Thank you, thank you.
Welcome.
Get comfortable. Good stuff.
Yeah, so thank you for flying in from Vienna.
Yeah.
You lead the freeCodeCamp Vienna group along with Daniel Deutsch, who couldn't make it. He's a student. Tell us a little bit about the origins of freeCodeCamp Vienna, which I think you said is about 3 years old now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like there's so much to say, but it basically started. I now have a developer job, and I mainly attribute that to freeCodeCamp, which is awesome. And when I started as a student, shortly after, there was, I think it still is, but there's this getting started guide, and you're getting encouraged to check up your local group. There was no local group, but there was a nice guide saying, if there is no local group, start a Facebook group. This is how you do it. So I did, and then no one came. So I asked my wife to join. I invited her. We were 2. Then, like, this is probably just in the span of a couple of days, there were still no more people joining. So I got impatient. So I think I texted you on Gitter or something. I was like, I don't know if Quincy Larson will reply to me, but he replied, and it was awesome. And I was asking, can I start a meetup.com group? Because I knew meetups from my city. There's quite a bit of them. Thinking that that's a way I could get more people involved, because I wanted to meet other students, right? And then I did that, and you replied like, yeah, of course, sure, just keep in mind it costs money and stuff. And I was like, that's fine. So that's basically how it started in the format that we have now. We've been going almost 3 years, like this, I think November or December. And we basically have it where I always try to say that this is the local group for freeCodeCamp Vienna. This is a meetup, but if anyone wants to help in any way, you know, I'm just here now helping it to grow, starting, and keep it going. So we have a format normally now of 1 or 2 talks and some group coding or some group discussion, whatever people want to do, just to keep a monthly thing where people can meet other students, which is, what I've been doing. Yeah.
Awesome. And so it sounds like you have a very supportive wife who's, how has that helped you? Because I also benefit from an incredibly supportive wife. Jade, I don't know if you're watching. Thanks. And none of the freeCodeCamp would be possible if Jade hadn't believed in me and let me take an extended departure from working full time so I could build freeCodeCamp and try to build up the initial community. So talk a little bit about your relationship with your wife, and how is she learning to code as well?
No. Yeah, I think she could benefit from learning. I think she doesn't know what she's missing out on, but yeah, she's been super supportive. In the beginning there, maybe we can touch a little bit on, because I used to work a longer career of all sorts of jobs, from theater stagehand to customer service to sales to selling newspapers on the phone, selling software. I was working actually here in Dublin for 2 years in Xerox and also in Oracle, but mainly support or like phone sales. So I was exposed to technology, and I've always loved computers since a young age. But for some reason, I figured programming was harder than I imagined it to be this really hard thing. So long story short then, back to I was starting a agency kind of company with a friend while working full time. So in my spare time, and my wife is so supportive. So when she was watching TV or series, I was sitting on my computer trying to make some business happen, right? And I did that before I learned to code with WordPress sites and themes and prepaid, themes and plugins and stuff. And that led eventually to me being curious. We are doing shared hosting. Can I do the hosting myself and we have a better margin? So that's for the first time I got exposed to online courses like Treehouse and Linux Academy, where I was realizing it's easier than I thought to learn these technical skills that I was interested in but a bit afraid of. So that led to me discovering that, I should probably try and do this with programming as well again. And it really clicked with me. But it wasn't until I really was like, I can do this. I got the belief that this is not as hard as I thought. But it was mainly via freeCodeCamp as sort of my base, or like my go-to place for learning, that I kind of got the ball rolling and really got into learning. And through all of this, my wife has been super supportive because, as I said, she would do leisure stuff at the evening, and I would, be on social doing my stuff, which works, but it can only work for that long. Kind of, you have to find a balance. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I wasn't aware that you'd had such a winding career and done so many different things, and it's great that you've worked here in Dublin. So it sounds like, are you originally from Vienna?
No. I'm from Norway. I worked here in Dublin, and that's where I met my now wife. She's Austrian. So we moved to Norway, we established a family, and then we moved to Vienna, her home city, like 5 years ago. Yeah.
Wow. So it sounds like you all have really benefited from the EU's ability to fluidly move between countries, because you've been moving a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Norway is not in the EU. We're in this collaboration like Switzerland and us, and I can't remember, Luxembourg, I think.
Yeah,
but it makes it basically. I can only remember the Norwegian one, EFTA, but it's something like that, EEA or whatever.
Oh, okay, yeah, I saw
but
that when I was in customs. It said like special line for people who are in the EU, Switzerland, CH.
Yeah.
And then like the EEA.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah. But that's really nice, because basically that and Schengen, so the passport agreement, makes it so it's really easy to visit anything in Europe, and it's really easy, depending on the country, to get like a worker's license or just the extended visa. You don't even have to apply often, so that's nice. And so if you're curious about like working abroad, then Europeans should Europeans should avail of that.
Yeah. So now that you're leading the study group, what are some of your goals for freeCodeCamp Vienna and for your own personal career for 2019?
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. I'm really grateful that I have Daniel Deutsch with me. He's been, I think, about 2 years my co-organizer and co-host. I also run 2 other meetups now over a year. One is for Vue.js and one is for Golang, because I love this interjection of meeting people, getting to know them, help them if I can, and this like mix of people and code, which is awesome. So I know that even if I take a break or slow down, freeCodeCamp Vienna is still going to be there, because Daniel Deutsch is just running the show, and it's seamlessly, it's perfect. With the other meetups, I'm slowing down now, because I think what I want to happen in, let's say 2019, to put a number on it, is to switch a little bit my career from pure developer to doing more developer relations in one form or with another. My dream future would be where I get to do professionally what I do as a hobby, with the meetups. So if I can be more, conferences, traveling, online forums, doing community work, and that be the focus of my professional career, that's where I want to navigate towards. And but I still want to do some coding, even if it's like demos or prototyping or preparing technical talks and stuff like this.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for flying out to Dublin. And it's such a pleasure to finally meet you in person. You and I have corresponded for years. So it's great to finally meet you and go out on the rooftop and take a selfie together.
Yeah, we did, and I want to thank you personally. Like, this has been so awesome. The fact that you started Free Code Camp, and one person can start something that trickles down to now this huge movement, which it is, with all these channels. I find it so amazing and inspiring. You're a true inspiration. You are. Thanks.
Thank you, but it would be nothing without the help of so many amazing contributors like yourself. So thanks again for everything you're doing to inspire developers around the world, and especially in Vienna.
Take care.
All right, thanks. Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
How are
Welcome.
you?
Have a seat.
Yeah, thank you.
So Eleftheria, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yeah, you do.
Eleftheria or?
Eleftheria.
Eleftheria. Ellie, okay.
Oh, yeah, call me Ellie.
All right, well, I like your entire name. It's just so cool and distinctive, and yeah. Well,
Actually, in my country, Eleftheria means freedom. So, yeah, it's cool, like freedom, yeah.
Great. Well, Eleftheria, thank you so much for flying in from Greece. You are a very prominent person in the freeCodeCamp community, especially recently. You've been live streaming a whole lot of videos. You've been creating videos on things like Angular. It's incredibly helpful. Tell us a little bit about how you got into tech and how you started deciding to record all this and share all this knowledge.
Okay. Well, I wanted to learn, and firstly, I wanted to learn for me and for myself, but I knew that eventually I wanted to find a job, and I wanted to be sure that everything I know, I can also go to another person and maybe teach them. So I said, okay, how can I do that? So I'll start coding in my computer, as always, and then I'm going to record these videos. And if they are good, then I'm going to upload them. So basically, that's how I started. I wanted to pass this knowledge to other people and make sure that I also know these things.
That's great. And I think it takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there and to record videos about a topic that you yourself are just learning. How did you get the courage to go out there, and what was your thought process like?
Because I always want to get better, I thought that I should start from somewhere. I should really start from somewhere, because if it's only me that's studying in my own little room, then it's not going to be anything. I wanted to pass this knowledge to everyone else, and yes, I'm still learning. I don't know everything in Angular, but it's something that I like doing, so I'm doing it.
Great. And your videos have been very popular, and we've had so many people who've asked for more content on Angular, so it's perfect that you started creating these great videos. What are some things that you plan to do? 2018 is almost over. Coming into the end of 2018, 2019, what do you plan to focus on for the near future in terms of creating videos, creating articles, and teaching other people about technology?
I have a few plans on my mind. As far as Angular is concerned, I would like to focus more on Angular, on Angular material. So I would like to create some videos based on AngularJS and maybe mix it with a material library. I would really love to do that. But other than that, I'm also interested in UX and UI design. So I was also thinking to contribute and make some videos in UX and UI design. And other than that, I also have some plans about teaching maybe JavaScript, like volunteering, and I would love to go in some other conferences that I have in mind, and maybe if I could help them and also pass some knowledge, I would love to do that. It can be quite scary because, as you mentioned, I'm still learning and I'm still quite new, but I believe that if it's something that you love and it's something you like, then you should do it no matter what.
You seem to have a very strong passion for learning and a desire to improve yourself and expand your horizons. Tell us a little bit more about your background and how you got to be so adventurous.
Well, it's true. I'm very passionate and I really want to improve myself. So when I was 18, I had to make a decision and to study something. in my country, in Greece, you have to give some final exams. And I wanted to go into an engineer school. I wasn't that good and my exams weren't that good, so I didn't really pass. But then because my sister was in this university, I got an opportunity to pass because she was also there. And as soon as I got in, I really liked everything. But the problem was that we only get the basics from backend, like Java and some PHP, and some basics on front-end development, like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And then I knew that if I wanted to get a job, that wasn't enough. I had to study on my own. And first, I found an article on Medium, and they suggested freeCodeCamp. So I went there, and at first I didn't know what freeCodeCamp was. I started to do the first challenges, which was about HTML and CSS, and I fell in love with it. So I continue building. Yeah, yeah, but that's the truth, because I continued building, and I saw that I could progress and I could learn stuff, and I could have some. The most important thing was that I could have some of those projects in my portfolio. So I also built a portfolio, and I had these challenges, and it was really awesome. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Eleftheria, for coming out here from Greece, and thank you for everything you're doing to encourage people to learn to code. I think a lot of people, when they watch your videos, they are, not only do they learn a lot, but they get really motivated because you're just such an enthusiastic person, and I think that really carries through in the videos.
Thank you.
All right, well, are you gonna come out and run with us tomorrow?
I don't think so. I have plans with the family. They are here with me. Oh. So yeah.
Okay, wow. So your family came here with you.
My dad and my sister. Yeah.
Great. Well, what is something exciting to do that you plan to do while you're in here in Dublin?
Well, tomorrow we are planning on go on a tour in Ireland, so not only Dublin, and I'm really looking forward to it because maybe I won't ever have a chance to visit Dublin again or even Ireland, so I really want to go there. I like traveling and exploring, so it will be a great opportunity for me to do that.
Awesome. Well, we're so excited that you were able to bring your family with you, and I hope you have an amazing time exploring Ireland.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, I'm going to pop Eleftheria's information up on the screen. I encourage you to follow her on Twitter, and we're going to get the next interviewee. Oh, great. Thank you. You're very fast. All right, next, let's bring him in. The man, the main man. I am thrilled to finally hang out with you in person. We've spent, my gosh, hundreds of hours.
So many hours.
Oh, Ben McMahon. Yeah, Ben is a prolific contributor to freeCodeCamp. I think I've spent more time pairing with him than pretty much anybody in the freeCodeCamp community. Gosh, let me just recount some of the things you worked on. So, you were very heavily involved in the JavaScript curriculum, which pretty much everybody who's watching this has probably tried at some point. You created the Challenge-O-Matic, which was the tool to make it easier to contribute challenges, which we're not actively using anymore, but it's an inspiration for what we're building. The Challenge-O-Matic. I think yours was the Challenge-O-Matic 5000.
Yeah, your Berkeley was not a fan of that name at all. That was how I distinct memories. Why is it 1000? I'm like, because it sounds cool.
Yeah, well, I think this next one's going to be Challenge-O-Matic 5001.
Perfect. That's exactly how the versioning should work. Just start at a random high number and keep increasing it.
Yeah, that way people will think there have been so many iterations to get us to where it is. Well, tell us a little about yourself. You're here in Dublin, right?
Yeah. So I am based here. I am currently kind of a college student. The third year of my degree is all work placement. So I'm currently a working man for a year. In kernel development, actually, which was a complete pivot from JavaScript. But
Curl development?
Kernel. Oh. Like Linux kernel.
Okay, I was like, curl, like the command? How much can you really do with that? Kernel development. Okay, so talk a little bit about what you're doing with kernel development and where you're working.
So I'm in Arista. Arista Networks, they've been the same market as Cisco and Juniper and those guys. Mainly what I'm working on is most of your work revolves around, you're dealing with, they're Linux boxes, but they're Linux boxes with a lot of network cards, which Linux, it works fine with it, but it's not, the first purpose. So there are a few tweaks and changes that need to be made. And yeah, that's kind of my day job now at the moment. It's been very interesting because I'm learning C and kernel development and a lot of other concepts all at the same time on the job, which is an interesting thing to sign yourself up for, but sure, look.
Yeah, and so you've gone from doing primarily web development, which is what you're doing with freeCodeCamp, to really diving many layers of abstraction down.
I'm on the opposite end of like the spectrum at this stage. Yeah. No, it was something I got a choice when I got the internship there to pick a team, and I was going, I need to pick something that I know nothing about. Interesting. That's also how I started freeCodeCamp. Was I tried to help. I distinctly remember helping you at like 2 a.m. with writing Jade, like 5 years ago or 4 years ago now. Back in the closet streams. Bring back closet streams.
Bring back closet streams. Well, I'm happy to report that I no longer live in the Bay Area in a 1-bedroom apartment, and I actually have an entire house with little kids running around it now. So I have a spare bedroom that my in-laws stay in when they visit, and I can stream from there. We should absolutely get on and do a stream at some point.
It has to be a closet, though. It's not the same if it's not a closet.
Okay, so we do have a closet. It's just very hot, and I'm spoiled. What can I say? I did my time in the freeCodeCamp closet, and now I want to sit in a proper room.
Free closet camp. We can make it a thing.
So, what are some? You've been active in the freeCodeCamp community. You've primarily been focused on your new job, and your internship before that, which involved probably an incredible amount of learning. Are you interested in coming back and continuing to contribute to the freeCodeCamp community in the near future?
Oh, well, I'm dying to get back. The problem with working with coding full time is you do actually have to love it to some degree, because there's days I'll come home and I'll be like, I don't want to write any more code, I want to go to bed. But yeah, I'm hoping to find some time to start getting back into it. I want to like block off a week or something to reacquaint myself with the code base and stuff before I dive back in, because it's definitely changed in the year or so I've been unactive. Yeah, probably about a year.
Well, great. Well, Stuart's actively working on making the curriculum a lot more accessible. Of course, Stuart's only a few hours drive from you. If you ever want to pair program in real life, which is kind of a quaint thing that we used to do back in the day, right?
Back in the day.
So I think we should stop talking about tech and talk about this wonderful city that you call home, where we're having this event. As far as I know, you're the only person I've talked to tonight who lives here. I've talked to a few people who've lived here for shorter periods of time, but what is Dublin all about? If you had to describe Dublin, how would you describe it?
Jesus, I was not prepared for that. God, one word. Okay, one word's tough.
It doesn't have to be one word. I didn't impose that restriction.
I'm trying to be concise though as well. Like, Dublin's such a strange place because it's got like, you have Google, and then you'll have like a pub next door with an old man drinking Guinness in it. It's kind of got like a foot in both of those worlds, and it's very interesting culturally from that point of view. It's a country that's grown up really fast, and it's become really progressive of late. So it's a happening place for definite. You can't see it anymore, but if you looked at the windows earlier, you can see cranes everywhere. There's a huge amount of construction, a huge amount of development. We're very lucky as well, like you've no shortage of tech companies around here. So for people definitely in Europe, it's a good destination to kind of pick if you're looking for somewhere to, start a career in tech, because there are a lot of places and they're doing a lot of hiring at the moment. But other than that, like, I like to think that people are friendly enough. They're friendly to me because I'm from here, I guess. But it's definitely an interesting culture. It's funny, when I go to the States, one of the first things I miss is the people, because it's a very different, like, interpersonal culture there. And it's nice, but you do miss the kind of, I don't know, everything has to be witty, everything has to be sarcastic, all that kind of stuff. And it's the funny little things like that that you kind of miss.
Yeah, so in Dublin, people are constantly kind of like, do you think it's like a city of kind of entertainers and jokers, kind of where everybody's trying to figure out a clever way to put things?
Well, they always kind of portray the Irish as that kind of like quick-witted, like smart-ass type of character, and maybe they're right. I like to think I'm pretty all right, but no, like, huh? You probably shouldn't. But no, yeah, like I think there's a lot of value placed on your way with words and your bit of wit, and I think it comes across when you meet people. They're normally, you know, decent speakers and, you know, up for a chat. Some of them are a bit too up for a chat, but that's a different story altogether.
Yeah. Well, what are some things that, aside from kernel development and hopefully getting back into freecodecamp contribution, what are some areas of technology, since you're somebody who is, you know, at many different places in the stack and has a pretty good bird's eye view on how things are moving, what are some things that really excite you about information technology and the way things are going?
In terms of new things, I guess there's a lot of scope for, I guess, like this is trying to run a lot, but the tighter integration of technology and people. I feel like there's a lot of issues that are not serious enough that they needed a solution in the past, but have become so easy to solve that they will be. A great example of that is the whole health technology kind of revolution, the way everyone's get their heart rate constantly monitored and all that kind of stuff. There's been many cases of people finding out they have AFib, or atrial fibrillation if you want the full Googleable thing, because of their smartwatches. I think there's an article really recently about an Apple Watch that alerted a person to it. And it's stuff like that that can, you know, makes huge differences to lives, because they're, you know, if you find out you have atrial fibrillation, you need to get it sorted, and it's fine if you sort it, and if you don't, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble. So there's all kinds of applications of health technology in particular that are not only really exciting because they're cool, but they're also really exciting because they're good. They're doing a good thing in the world.
That's a really good answer. So, are you planning to do you want to, like, 10 years out? You're so young. First of all, I think this guy was one of the youngest freecodecamp contributors. How old were you when you started contributing to freecodecamp?
What year is it now? 2018.
It was like 4 years ago almost.
16 then, yeah.
Yeah, and so you're right at the beginning of your career. Did you end up going to university, or?
Yeah. So this year of work is my third year of college effectively, and then I have to go back for one more year. So yeah, I took the weird route because I did the self-teaching and the free code camp, and then the classical training as well. So I've kind of done all of it in a weird way.
So, knowing that health technology and preventative medicine and all that is an area that there's tremendous potential for improving people's quality of life, and it can be, huge industry. Knowing that, and knowing what you know about kernel development, and knowing what you know about web development, what would you say the long-term direction you hope to take your career in at this point is?
I actually am very happy where I am. I have to say, this is a very good company to work for, and I find my work really interesting. I try not to worry too much about the future. The nice thing about tech is that when you get yourself to a certain standard, you don't have to worry too much about, you're not going to be unemployed probably for any great period of time. So I do like a degree of, letting the river take me wherever and see what happens. For now, definitely for the next 5 years, I can see myself staying in Arista. But I have no plans even beyond that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what opportunities do present themselves.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us here and, coming out and giving us some local flavor.
That's it. That's what I'm here for. Quincy, it's great to talk to you in real life.
Great to talk to you in person, in the flesh.
That's it.
Hey, coming up, Matt. Yeah. Welcome. Matt, tell us a little bit about your background and what you're doing.
Yep. So I'm originally a music teacher. I studied music at university, taught guitar and piano for several years, and then, which I still do actually, just a little bit, in the evenings and weekends. But I realized it wasn't the career for me. I wanted something which had a bit more direction, had more of a challenge. And I met a friend who I'd not seen in a long time, and he studied music with me, and he was like, "Oh, I'm a developer now." I was like, "How did that happen?" And he was like, "Well, I found a lot of courses online and sort of taught myself, and then a couple of years later, I'm a developer." I was like, "Oh, that's incredible!" And so I started just looking around different resources, and this was like 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago. So I started with a lot of courses on Coursera, edX, and those kind of things, which were really good because they had these kind of deadlines, so you had to get the project in by a certain time, and then people peer review them. and then listen to a lot of podcasts. And I feel it was probably JavaScript Java you were on, and you were talking about freeCodeCamp, or maybe it was Code Newbie, maybe both.
Yeah.
And I heard about freeCodeCamp and started trying that out, and realized actually this is incredible free platform. And yeah, just got really into it and got quite disciplined about doing it every day. And then I heard about these meetups that were going on, and which at first I was I'm not good enough to go along to these. I bet everyone's amazing, and very. I was quite intimidated, but I forced myself to go, and then met people who were very similar to me. Some people who were above me, some people who weren't quite where I was, and found that really. And suddenly it was like, oh, maybe I can do this, and yeah, it's gone from there really.
That's awesome. So, describe the transition. You're a musician, and just looking at the different steps you would need to take and planning out your progression as it became clearer and clearer to you what you needed to do.
Yeah, I think to begin with, it's fine just to accept you're not going to learn everything in one go. I think some people think they maybe do it for a week and think, oh, I feel like I don't know too much yet. I'm never going to be able to do this. It can be overwhelming. It's good just to initially, which I think I did, just to try a few things out and just enjoy it really, not necessarily immediately think I need to do this and become a developer as soon as possible. I think it's good to take your time just to try some things out, but then as you enjoy it more, hopefully, and get a sense that it is what you want to do, trying to find ways to keep yourself motivated. In my case, it was initially doing these courses which had deadlines at the end of the week, and then in the meetups thinking, okay, there's another meetup in 2 weeks, I'd like to be able to show something to someone by then. Sometimes you feel like if you go along and you've not done anything since last time, it's like, oh, I should have done that. It's a nice kind of motivator having some peers around you. I think it's very easy to sort of stay by yourself and get a bit isolated, but what we try and encourage with the meetups is to get people to come along and just talk to people, see where everyone else is, don't feel shy about it. Everyone's there to help each other. We're not about criticizing. I mean, it might be constructive criticism, but yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, and so your leadership within these meetups and helping people in your town pick up these skills, what are some observations you've had about people who've approached it, and how do they generally find out about the events and come to them?
Yeah, for some more context, I've been going to the meetups for about 2.5 years, but I've only been leading them since the beginning of this year. The person, Alex, who was really great, she was running them for a few years, but just had a lot on her plate, so she looked for a volunteer to carry on with them, and as I was going to them all the time, I thought I should do that. As for observations, we get such a huge range of people that come. There are people who have, surprisingly, you get quite a few people who turn up and they ask me, I'd like to learn to code, where do I start? And I go, have you tried freeCodeCamp? They're like, oh, there's an online platform. They actually don't realize. They've seen the meetups on maybe meetup.com, or we have the Facebook group, obviously, which I moderate, or just like the venues have their own websites and stuff. So it's sometimes quite funny to see the look on their face to actually see someone for the first time, see the curriculum, and they're like, this isn't all free, is it? And actually, you explain, yes, it is. And so that's great. So we do get people who are really right at the beginning like that. And again, this is what I keep telling. I think we're getting on for like 6,000 people on the group, but we get about 20 to 30 people who actually come, and I think there's a lot of people there, and this is partly why I'm sitting here, is I'm trying to make them realize, don't be shy, we'd love to have you. So we do have that. We get a lot of people who come who are, we very rarely get people who are overly cocky, actually. Most people are a bit unsure of themselves, and it's nice to tell them, actually, no, you're doing really well. And we've had a lot of success stories lately. I think the last meetup, 3 or 4 people since the previous one had got jobs since that one, so it's always nice when people come along and say, hey, I got a job since last time, so that's really good to see.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. So having 20 or 30 people show up at a meetup is really good. I talk to people all the time who have been working very hard to build up a kind of a critical mass of people coming, and it takes a lot of work to get a group to that size. It's, you know, because it's hard work showing up at a meetup, and you have to put yourself out there. You have to learn new things. In programming, pretty much everything you do, you're doing for the first time. Otherwise, you just rerun the script you wrote last time, right? So let's talk about music specifically. And you said you were inspired by your friend who is a musician and how he transitioned into development, and the parallels you see between music and coding.
Yeah, I think certainly self-discipline is a key one. Like as a kid, just getting into the habit of practicing an hour a day of guitar and piano in my case, and whatever instrument it may be. That's definitely really been a key one, is being able to just motivate yourself, try and sometimes it's a chore, sometimes it's really not, but trying to doing a bit every day, even if it is just maybe even 20 minutes, is better than leaving long gaps and then doing a huge amount, you know, doing nothing for a month and then spending a weekend solid. It's better to do, a bit every day or every other day. So certainly that kind of thing. Other parallels in music, I guess, patterns, looking for patterns in things. When I'm looking at chords and scales, there's a lot of this kind of, I come from a background of being quite interested in music theory and that kind of picking things apart and seeing how they work. So certainly from that translates quite nicely into looking at code bases and trying to figure out what's behind the scenes and how that's happening. So, yeah.
Well, what are some of your near-term goals as far as your leadership of the study group and also just your personal career goals?
As far as the study group, trying to get the meetups more regular. We are increasing this now. I've been talking to some more venues around London, and so we're just in the same place, but we're now trying out some other things. So that's helping to keep a bit more momentum going. Getting more people going, obviously, is always good. And I try and encourage people on the Facebook group and people who come that this doesn't have to be the only thing. Go to other meetups or start your own. We don't own the freeCodeCamp brand, you know, we're just volunteers, and so we do get people who, you know, will after a session go, hey, do you want to meet up the weekend and do some coding and stuff? So always constantly trying to encourage that. Talking to a few people about maybe doing some talks and workshops. At the moment our meetups are quite loose, so which is kind of deliberate because I want to keep them as unintimidating as possible. Yeah. So that, and also for me personally, when I've been coding all day, to go and have like 3 hours of lectures, as it were, they can be really great, but sometimes you just want to talk and enjoy the social aspect. So yeah, but I think maybe we could also be a bit more structured, have occasional talks and that kind of thing would be good. As far as career, I've just started a new job this week, so
wow, congratulations. Tell us about that.
So it's with a company called Bulb, who are a green energy company, so do 100% renewable electricity and 10% renewable gas. So it's quite a good mission, which I'm, you know, quite passionate about. And they're growing at a phenomenal rate. So I think they had about 100,000 customers at Christmas, and now it's on to 800,000. So it's they're hiring more developers. They want to, you know, obviously keep on top of things. It was an interesting first week because it was everybody, whether you're senior management or entry level, does the energy specialist training. So learning about the energy industry and how to deal with customer interactions. So I haven't even seen the code base yet, but we'll see what it looks like on Monday, which is going to be fun. But it's a really good stack, you know, React Redux and Enzyme Jest Node on the back end, so lots of good stuff.
That's great. They're working with a contemporary stack, so you'll be pretty at home because you've been working with that previously, and that's what you learned?
Yeah. My previous job was mostly React Redux, so quite familiar with that. But I've done bits of back end, but not too much. So it would be good to have a bit of chance to do that as well. And it's all in TypeScript as well, which I'm liking more and more, that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, I'm excited about TypeScript too. There's a new version of Node that's TypeScript based. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's called Deno. It's like Node, but backward. Yeah. Or I guess an anagram of Node. Deno. I have the subreddit. If anybody's interested in posting about Deno, r Deno. I'm the administrator on that subreddit now. So as you learn more about TypeScript, especially, I'd encourage you to teach the community about it, because that is a topic that I think everybody should get some exposure to. We're hoping to add TypeScript to the freeCodeCamp curriculum as well.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, to be honest, I'm pretty much a beginner in it myself. I mean, I did, the Twitch project, I did that for the hell of it. I did it in Angular 2, like 2 years ago, and built that with TypeScript. I learned it for that. I think it's changed a bit since then. I've mainly been using Flow in my previous job, but a lot of the principles are quite similar. So, but it'd be nice. So, but having said that, it is good to teach things, even if you're not yet an expert, because by teaching, you do learn yourself. So, yeah, maybe that's a good goal I should set myself, is try and teach some people some TypeScript at the meetups.
All right, Matt. Well, thanks again for your leadership of the freeCodeCamp London group, and I popped your information up on the screen. I think, are you on Twitter?
Oh, not really.
Not really. Okay.
There's a freeCodeCamp Twitter, which I'm actually probably not so great at maintaining as the other platforms, but yeah, I mean, if anything, I'm trying to maybe cut down social media use a little bit. So, but yeah, I'm on Facebook and happy, and LinkedIn, obviously, happy for people to add me on that.
Right. Well, I would encourage you, if you're visiting London, which is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world, or if you happen to be in the area, if you happen to live in the UK and just travel there occasionally, I would encourage you to attend one of the freeCodeCamp London events. I've heard great things about it. You got some amazing photos from your events that I've seen, and I've heard great things about the events from various people who've gone.
Yeah, likewise, when you're in London, please do join us.
All right, well, hopefully within the next year or two, I'll make it out to one of your events. I'd love to go. It's a beautiful city. It's got so much history.
Yeah, fantastic. Great. Okay.
Thanks again, Matt.
That's good to see you.
I'm great. This is Timo. Hey, Timo. Thanks. Timo, can you tell me how to pronounce your last name?
Gurentjes.
Gurentjes.
Yeah, pretty good.
Gurentjes. Timo Gurentjes. Okay, and you're from the Netherlands?
Yeah, from Breda, from the south of the Netherlands.
Okay, so from which city in the South Netherlands?
Breda.
Breda?
Breda.
Breda. Okay. So, first of all, I just want to make sure everybody knows Timo is a prolific contributor. I think I was talking about you earlier when we were going around in the circle, but you've contributed an incredible amount. And if you look on the GitHub repo and rank everything by commits, you're way up there, along with Ben McMahon and some of the other people we've talked to tonight. So, Timo, you are a young developer who is rapidly learning new skills and contributing to open source. Talk about how you got interested in technology.
I've been thinking about that recently, and the truth is I don't really know what got me interested. It's just I found out about it, I tried it, and I liked it, and I stuck with it because it seemed fun. And yeah, I can't really tell why I like it, but I like it, and I think I like solving the puzzle. I specifically like helping other people with the things I can help them with. But yeah, why programming? I don't know. It's just it seemed fun, and it turned out to be fun, so I stuck with it.
What are some of the ways that you've contributed to the freeCodeCamp community over the past year and a half or so?
So when I started out, it was almost exactly 2 years ago now. I started with making small changes, mostly to the curriculum, small fixes to the test mostly. So there was a test that was missing correct solutions, or it was allowing solutions that shouldn't be allowed. I try to fix those, and that's mostly what I started out doing. And then I found out about the freeCodeCamp guide being developed, and I actually had quite a bit of time at the time that it was in active development, and I got involved, and I spent a lot of time on contributing to the freeCodeCamp guide, to the platform, not the articles, the content, but to the platform, the site around it.
Yeah, and the guide specifically, what are some of the articles that you wrote that you're particularly proud of?
The only article or the only content on the guide that I wrote is the homepage, which I'm kind of proud of, because I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, and it's actually in the past year or so it hasn't changed at all, so it's kind of fun. But I haven't written any other content for the guide. It's the only content I've written.
So most of your contributions have been to the application itself, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've done a lot to just for the looks of the site. For the performance, I cut it in half. At one point, there was a weird issue that made the loading time twice as long as it could be. So that's a fun thing I did, and lots of stuff around that, making the tests better, making sure it wouldn't give better errors when the things failed, and that's sort of what I did around the kite.
Yeah, so next month we're having the FreeCodeCamp Jamstack Hackathon. We're going to be building a lot of applications using tools like Gatsby.js, which is what the guide is built on. Do you have any time or energy to participate in that hackathon?
I think I heard about it, and then I checked my calendar. I think I could not. I don't remember, but I think it was something that made it so that it was difficult for me to attend. But I'd like to, and I'd definitely check again, but it probably won't work. Yeah.
Okay, well, we moved it back a week, so now it's November 3rd and 4th, and even though we're having it in person in San Francisco at GitHub, we're also going to have a much larger online hackathon. And one of the things we're doing is we're building kind of like Google's Lighthouse score. You know how you can add like a Chrome extension? What we want to do is we want to build something like Google's Lighthouse score that checks whenever a page is like redeployed through Netlify. We create some sort of webhook, and then we can go in and we can just run a bunch of tests against it and figure out, performance, how it's doing performance-wise, how it's doing SEO-wise, accessibility-wise, and other like basic security considerations, things like that. So if you're interested, you're somebody who has a ton of experience working with the stack, and me and Stuart are going to be working on this basically all through the month of October during Hacktoberfest, putting this tool together to basically test hackathon projects programmatically. Would that be something you might be interested in contributing to?
Yeah, I think that definitely sounds exactly like the kind of thing I'm looking to contribute to right now, so that's really cool to hear about. I've been away from the contributing to freeCodeCamp for a while now, and that sounds like right up my alley. So yeah, I'm definitely going to look at what I can do to contribute to that. Yeah.
Great. Well, we'll plan to include you in some of the meetings that Stuart and I have. Right now, we're focused, of course, on getting the FreeCodeCamp repo easier to contribute to in preparation for Hacktoberfest. Got like a week left. But for that, I'll definitely loop you in because we would totally welcome your help with that. You've got so much knowledge about performance and security and things like that. What are you doing as a developer, and what's the next year and a half or so of your life look like?
Wow, that's a difficult question. So right now I work at a very small local software company where the only developers are me, my boss, and a freelance software developer. But I'm having a lot of fun there. The people there are great, so that's fun. But the tech is quite old. But also because it's such a small company, I get to do a lot of different things, and I quite enjoy that. So I'll be looking into progressive web apps, and we'll probably be turning our application to a progressive web app. So I'm quite excited to do that. And we have a lot of UI improvements and performance improvements. So I really like those areas, and those also happen to be the areas that we are going to focus on in our application at my job. So it works out great.
Awesome. Well, Timo, it's been so wonderful having you fly in from the Netherlands, hanging out with us. What are some things you plan to do while you're here in Dublin?
I'm usually the kind of person that really plans out in advance what I'd potentially like to do, but for this trip I didn't look at anything at all. So I'm leaving Monday, so I have the all day tomorrow here, so I'll probably be at the fun run, and don't have any idea what I'm going to do tomorrow apart from that, but hoping to do some sightseeing in Dublin tomorrow, and that's about it really, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Timo. It's great to meet you in person, of course, and Timo ran into us at the airport actually, and you just saw the FreeCodeCamp shirt. He's like, hey, and I was like, oh, Timo. And so yeah, it was pretty dramatic, sudden meeting, and you came back and hung out at the Airbnb with us. So yeah, we're excited. I'm looking forward to running around the park with you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah. Hey, Sam. Sam Williams. Welcome.
meet you.
Likewise. Have a seat.
Thank you very much.
Just very quickly, we've got 36 minutes left in the venue, so we're going to try to get some more interviews done. Yeah. Well, thanks for all your articles so far, Sam. They've been great and very well received by the community.
Yeah, thank you very much. Like the first article I wrote, I wrote it just because I was in China and I hated the great firewall of China, and I sent it to you and said, "Can you have a look?" And you said you loved it, and actually made me an author on the freeCodeCamp Medium article on the Medium publication, and that just gave me the boost that I needed. Every other article before that got like 5, 10, maybe 15 viewers. Getting on the freeCodeCamp thing boosted me and gave me the confidence to write more, and that was really big for me.
Right on. Well, so you're somebody who's traveled extensively, and it seems like you're constantly learning new things and kind of pushing the bounds of your comfort zone. Can you talk about how you came to be, and like what inspired you to travel and to learn all these new technologies?
Well, I'm an obsessive rock climber, and that's what got me into traveling, and that's what actually got me into software development. I worked as an aerospace engineer, and I realized that it wasn't what I wanted to do. So what I wanted to do was do more traveling, and I realized that doing engineering as a career wasn't going to get me there, and software development would. So I actually used freeCodeCamp to teach myself how to do that. And after a couple of months of really hard work, I managed to get my first software job. After that, I decided to save up all of my money and go traveling. And then after that, I was like, okay, I need to take it to the next level. So I spent 6 months traveling and learning all of the newest things. I taught myself React through yourselves, freeCodeCamp, and a couple of other resources. I pushed my Node skills, and I did everything I could. And I wrote a lot of articles whilst I was traveling about what it was like to go from, I know a bit of HTML and a bit of CSS, to I want to become a really serious developer. And that's a transition that I found quite tricky, but hopefully through those articles I've helped some other people like find their pathway from very junior developer through to like a mid-level developer. And it's cool because like some of the articles have had comments saying this has really helped, this has like given me a pathway, and it's just such a good thing to see that other people are making that transition with us.
So I have to ask, as a rock climber, I enjoy climbing, I enjoy bouldering. I am not good at it at all, but that is a very itinerant lifestyle. You're traveling around from climbing location to climbing location, probably a lot of national parks and places like that you visit. You do outdoor climbing as well?
Yeah, so I grew up doing indoor competition climbing, which was good fun, but I realized that when I started going outdoors, that was the beauty and the scenery outdoors, and just climbing on real rock is so much better than climbing indoors. So yeah, I've been traveling around Spain, Germany, France, Europe. I've been across to Canada. I've been to North Africa, and then this was 5 months of traveling around Asia. So like months in China, Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, and it's just brilliant fun traveling. And the great thing is with traveling and doing software development is that you can take your laptop with you, which means you can do work whilst you're traveling. I met 5 or 6 other developers whilst I was traveling who had their laptop with them, and on their rest days would just take the laptop out, find a quiet corner, and would do a day's work, and that's how they sustained themselves on their perpetual travels, which is I think long term is something I definitely intend to do.
So when I spent about 5 years in China myself. When I was younger, like right after college, I moved there and I taught and was the school director, and I did an intensive Mandarin program and did an MBA. But while I was there, I definitely enjoyed it, and I thought about just living in different countries for the rest of my life. Ultimately, I kind of settled in the States, and I still go back to China. Like I'm getting ready to move there for like 6 months or so. just to live with the family and give my kids some more exposure to the language. But there was this amazing book I read. I wanted to see if you'd heard of it. It was really inspiring to me at the time. It's called Vagabonding by Ralph Potts. Ralph Potts?
I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that book, no.
I think it was kind of a precursor to the digital nomad movement, and I'm not sure, whether it holds up and whether the advice in there is still like best practices and stuff, but it definitely opened my eyes to it, and now there's this entire digital nomad movement. Do you identify as a digital nomad, and are you a part of any of those communities?
Currently, I'm not a digital nomad. I have a full-time job in Manchester, and I love it, and it's brilliant. But in the future, I can definitely imagine myself, my aim in the future is to get to the point where I can comfortably sustain myself in a perpetual travel. So I can go around, I can live in a city, I could live in Barcelona for a couple of months, and then I could move to China, and then I could move to Chile, and that is the goal, to have a digital nomad life where I can work where I want, when I want, and have complete autonomy of my life outside of the constrictions of a traditional job system.
In Manchester, are you able to work remotely at all, or do you generally just work in an office?
Currently, I work in an office. When I started this job, I started as what I thought was a low to medium level developer. I very quickly got pushed into being a mid to senior level developer, making quite big architectural decisions, which turns out I really enjoyed. So we've got a really small team, and we tend to work all in the office. If I want to work at home for a day, if I need to, I can, that's fine. But at the moment, with the size of the company I work at, working at an office, especially because it's a 10-minute commute, it's not 2 hours of driving. I find it's quite nice to get away from home, because that means that when you finish, you go home and you can shut off. Yes, occasionally you do have to pop online because there's a bug on the live system, but you can go back. But most of the time, it's you finish work at the end of the day, you go home, and being able to fully disconnect is something I'm actually surprisingly enjoying compared to when I've done a little bit of remote work before.
Well, you came from, I think you said aerospace engineering?
Yes, I did, yeah.
So that's a field, that's another engineering field. Software engineering, software development also applies with a lot of similar, math and kind of engineering principles. How much of your aerospace engineering training has been helpful in moving into software development?
I think actually quite a lot of it. A lot of the problem solving and the ways that you approach technical problems that we were taught and we practiced through university were actually really applicable to software development. Unfortunately, they're not actually that applicable to real world aerospace engineering, which is ironic. So I think a lot of the skills, the problem solving and the approaches and how to deal with something when you hit that wall, that's the kind of thing that you deal with quite a lot at university when you hit a project and you hit that wall, how to break through that wall, whether it's taking some time off or approaching it from a completely different direction. Yeah, aerospace engineering taught me more about software development than it did about aerospace engineering.
What would be some advice that you would have for other people who have gone into a field of engineering, whether it's mechanical engineering or aerospace engineering or petroleum engineering, or a field where perhaps growing a lot less quickly than software development is, which I think is probably the fastest growing field maybe on earth. What would be your advice to those people who already have kind of a traditional engineering training but are interested in pivoting into software development?
If you're interested in pivoting into software at all, give it a try. Stuff like freeCodeCamp, and there's hundreds of other free resources out there. They're all absolutely brilliant. I learned most of the stuff I know now through freeCodeCamp. It's free. It has step-by-step tutorials that give you really good feedback as you're progressing through. And the worst that happens is you try it out, you do 2 or 3 months, and you find that you don't enjoy it that much. That's 2 or 3 months. You've learned some new skills, but you don't progress. If you do enjoy it and you end up moving into software, you can end up as a remote developer, you could end up traveling around the world, you could end up working with chatbots like I currently do, and working with some of the coolest tech, like working with AI, working with machine learning, and doing something that is so beyond what you're constricted to within the traditional engineering roles.
Thanks so much for coming out from Manchester. And you're an athletic guy. Are you gonna come with us run tomorrow?
Unfortunately, I've got a flight quite early tomorrow morning, which I'm hoping that I'll be sober enough to fly on. But it's going to be, so unfortunately I'm not going to make the run.
No worries. Well, we'll have fun. I think we're gonna go and do like a little pub crawl after this. So, yeah, we've got Ben the local here who's gonna guide us around town. So it'll be cool to hang out with you later tonight. Thanks again for coming out, man. It's great to finally meet you in person.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Sam. All right. Richard, have a seat, man. Okay, great. All right, awesome. We're making good progress. So, Richard, I'm so thrilled. We've talked so many times. We've been in touch. Richard is in charge of freeCodeCamp Leeds, freeCodeCamp Oslo, and the freeCodeCamp Instagram, which has, 10,000-ish.
More like 13 and a half or something now. Something up in 13s, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and it's great photos of freeCodeCamp events and just beautiful workstations and code setups and things like that.
Yeah, all that stuff, all the good stuff.
Yeah, what are your goals? So you really took charge on the Instagram, and you owned it. You were already very prolific on Instagram. You had a lot of your own photos. You had a ton of followers yourself, and you really took the freeCodeCamp Instagram, which was largely just chilling there because I think I was the only person who had access to it at the time, and now it's quite vibrant, and there's a lot of beautiful photos on there. Can you describe that process of thinking like, hey, maybe I could help out with this, and how you went about it?
Yeah, so I think we took it from about 3,000 at the time. Like you were saying, it was like underutilized. I think you were very, very good on Twitter and things like that. That stuff was doing it. And what I was doing on my own Instagram was just pictures of my code, stuff I'm working on, and things like that. So we had a conversation about doing some stuff with the freeCodeCamp, wanting to have a lot more of the community stuff in there as well, trying to re-upload other people's pictures, re-gram them, or whatever they call that. So that's kind of what we tried to do, get the community thing more in there, and just try and build that up and have it a bit more of a community, a bit more so other people could get involved in that as well. So that was the plan.
Yeah, and early on you made it a clear point that people could basically mention freeCodeCamp or hashtag freeCodeCamp on Instagram, and we could basically signal boost their photos and of course credit them and everything. Are people still doing that pretty regularly?
We need them to do it more. Do it more. Especially to do with if there's meetups going on. That stuff's great. So if we've got a meetup and you've got a picture of all the groups and stuff like that, we love that stuff. So send those stuff. But I'm constantly going in there checking the hashtags, or if you've been tagging us in them directly as well, trying to find the good stuff out there and posting it on there. So if people send me the good stuff, then it means I don't have to do anything. So that's kind of what we want to do for sure.
Yeah. So beyond the Instagram, you have been leading these 2 study groups in 2 very different cities. You're originally from Leeds, but you live in Oslo as well?
Yeah, so my kind of journey with the whole code thing started, I was living in Oslo, so I kind of got back round to it. Coding I'd done a little bit when I was very young. It was HTML with inline CSS, so we're talking like 1997 here. So I got back around to it, and I was actually living in Oslo at the time. Then I ended up taking over the admin of the Oslo group because the person who was running it wasn't really running it. So they had a backlog of people. They wanted to get into the group, but they weren't being accepted. So I managed to get hold of the admin at that time and get her to add me. Then I took over the admin of that. Then as I was going back to Leeds, so I'd kind of been in Oslo twice basically. When I was going back to Leeds, we had Marek who came to the New York show, and he was really like, I want to do it, and it's going to give me a kick up the ass if I have this commitment that I'm the person here. I was like, okay, cool, I'm back in Leeds. So I went over to Leeds, got involved in the Leeds community. I think at that time they just added some more admins to kind of get stuff moving a little bit. Because in Oslo, when I was there, we started doing the coffee and code meetups. You know, we started weekly and we're doing once a month and trying to find its feet, which was great when Mark took over that. He made it once a week and that momentum was really good. So back in Leeds, we had the first coffee and code meetup, I think after I'd been there a month. Then they had me as the admin there. So we started trying to do more frequent coffee and code stuff there. So we were doing it monthly there as well. And obviously we've got Johnny Bizzle, the legend of Johnny Bizzle.
The legend.
So if you want to just message Johnny Bizzle on Twitter and just say, you know, I think it's at Johnny Bizzle, I'm sure it is. Just say you're a legend. You know, I got that well. And we've got Charlie as well and a few of the guys who are helping in Leeds. So we've got the coffee and codes running there, and I think that's the good thing about the Facebook groups is you can look at all the different cities around the world, and there's some groups that are slow and some groups that are really going somewhere, and it doesn't start in the groups, it starts outside the groups. And when you can start making that community outside the group, then it translates to stuff happening in the group. So like I said, I went back to Leeds and we started doing stuff in Leeds, and I moved back to Oslo again, and Mike did a great job of making the coffee and code meetups every week. And from then, you know, I've been back in Oslo maybe 6 months now, I think, something like that. And we're getting between 7 and 13 people every single Monday night. Oslo isn't a big city, it's like 800,000 people. So we've got 400 people in the group, I think, something like that. So to have that community of people who come in every single week is great, because it's the motivation to keep going. You know, even if all we do is just talk rubbish all night and we don't code anything, which happens, like that, for me it happens the majority of times. It's made, for us, Monday night is my favourite night of the week. I get to go hang out with these guys and we chill, you know. We'll go down to the lake and we'll have some beers by the lake. We'll go out and have a party. Like, it's gone beyond we're here to learn to code. It's like, there's good friendships. And I think with what we do in Oslo especially, there's a very big immigrant population there, like as in immigrant, expat community. So it's nice to have something that ties us together and brings people together that as a social thing as well. You know, we've got people from, not just people from England, Norway, America, you know, Poland, got the Czech Republic. We've got lots of people that automatically have this connection with you because you code, but also it brings you together, it gives you a good bond, which is really cool. It's like, it's bigger than the sum of its parts, I guess you could say. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so you've just to summarize some of the insights you shared. First of all, trying to build a community with like friends in a city first and get coffee and codes going, and then try to invite the local Facebook group into that, rather than trying to post on the Facebook group, hey, I'm trying to have this event. If you get a critical mass going first where you have people meeting, it makes it easier to bring more people from the community. Is that kind of what you're saying?
No, I'd say the way we worked it was this. I'm going to go study every Monday. I don't care if you come. I'm going. Like, this is my thing. And for me, it's one of those things where I had to do it. And I motivated myself to go do it. And when that momentum keeps going, you might have one person one week, you might have no persons the week after, but it's you're not doing it because of how many people are coming. You're doing it because that's what you have to do. And I think when you have these groups where people have got good leaders there and they're just going to go do it because that's what they're going to do, and it happens, like even in the Facebook groups, if you're not posting as a leader, if you're not posting, you've got to be the one who's doing it, even if nobody else is replying. It's almost one of those things like you're so selfishly blinkered. You're like, you almost you don't even care what's going on. You've got to do it. People might not be replying. Just keep posting that article you read. It's like, and eventually the momentum will come. Leeds is very similar to Oslo with the amount of people. It's like 700,000.
Right.
So if those groups can do it, and you're in a city of 10 million people, it's like you've got such a better base than even we had. And the only thing that's different is the fact that we went, I'm going to do it, and just do it, and don't care if you get any response. So yeah, just go do it for yourself. Keep posting. Make it the event for the coffee and code meetup, whatever it is. And it's like Field of Dreams? What's the movie where it's like,
build it and they'll come.
Exactly that. Build it and they'll come.
And I have to say, just a quick observation, because we're running out of time. We're going to do a big group photo. But I have to say that the study groups, like where a study group will become huge and vibrant and help tons of people get a job, has very little to correlation with the size of the metropolitan area. Has everything to do with the leadership of that study group and how passionate they are and how willing they are to do exactly what you said. Like, I don't care if you come, I'm going to be there. So come and code with me if you want. But either way, I'm going to be there, rain or shine. And that attitude makes all the difference. So thanks so much for imparting that in both the Oslo and in the Leeds groups. And I'm hopeful that we can take a lot of your wisdom and you can write some articles and we can use that to help more people create these successful groups. Thanks so much for everything you're doing, Richard. All right. Okay, we're here with Andrea. Do you have his name up on the screen? Okay, perfect. Andrea has contributed extensively to freeCodeCamp through the freeCodeCamp guide and also publishing articles on Medium. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you discovered freeCodeCamp and decided to contribute to it.
Okay, at the moment I'm a student, actually just started like last week university. My journey with freeCodeCamp started when I moved from like C# to JavaScript because I needed to learn Node.js for like a server application. And I basically discovered freeCodeCamp to learn JavaScript. Then I started like reading the articles on the Medium publication. And when I decided that I wanted to also write articles, it just felt natural to go to publish the articles on the Medium publication. And then from there, like the involvement with the community just like grew gradually, leading to contribute also mainly to the guides repository, but also like to the other repositories, like smaller contributions.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your many contributions so far. What are some areas, like when you look at the freeCodeCamp community, Andrea, what are some areas where you see potential for improvement that you're interested in diving into?
Okay. I think that the backend curricula is like very good on the beginner level, but there are like so many topics that could be covered. Of course, like the the work on actually developing the courses is like enormous. For example, a technology that I'm very interested in is GraphQL. I think that will be a very nice addition. You are also using that internally in the guides repository with Gatsby. So very cool technology. Would like to see that.
Yeah, well, I will tell you, Andrea, if you're interested in helping contribute to that, that's like we want to add TypeScript and we want to add GraphQL. Those are the two things that we're most excited about adding to the curriculum. Of course, we have other like things, kind of supplementary things, but we want both GraphQL and TypeScript to be covered in the core curriculum. So yes, we would welcome your help. And you're right, there absolutely, we basically scratched the surface on testing, on security, on a lot of these major NPM modules that people can add that add so much functionality, and we'd love to cover a lot more. Would you be interested in helping with that?
Yeah, okay. Actually, there is, I have a GraphQL article in writing, should be published, like ready couple of weeks. As helping in the curricula, I can do some work. The whole, like, not too much involvement because of like the plenty of things I have to do in this like period, starting university, having like a startup in the launching side job, really heavy on the schedule. But like the article is a good start, I think.
So you said you just started school? You just started?
I just started university, yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah, how old are you?
18.
Oh, wow. You're getting really into, really deep into technology pretty young, and that's excellent.
Yeah, I actually like started my first experiences with coding like at 12. The story goes basically, ooh, I like games, why not make one? And then like I just started with those software that lets you just create the game with drag and drop stuff. And then you say, oh, I want to add this like cool feature. I will learn some scripting, and then, oh, programming is super cool. I will learn this.
Yeah, have you, are you thinking of like Game Maker or tools like that? What did you use early on for building games?
Okay, yeah, early on I used GameMaker. We actually had an issue because we are 3 people using GameMaker, but we had 2 different versions of the GameMaker, and we didn't know that. And so like, at the time, of course, we didn't use Git. I didn't even know that Git existed. And so like sending the versions and loading them into the software like broke the code. And we had like these 2 weeks in which we were like building this very basic AI, and every time we like sent each other the code, it broke. Until we realized, oh, you're using 8.1, I'm using 8.0.
Wow, that's kind of doesn't sound like they have very good backward compatibility.
Yeah.
Have you looked at Unity 3D or the Unreal Engine or any of the more contemporary big developer tools for game development?
I did something in Unity, but actually in the last 3 years, I haven't done like anything in game development. I've been doing mostly backend work, like on an IoT framework, some front-end work with React for the interface.
Well, but you know, IoT related stuff is of course very interesting, and Node.js is a powerful tool for doing IoT stuff. So if you want to write more about that, we'd welcome that. If you do want to dive in and do more game development, we've published a lot of videos on game development, like build Flappy Bird, build basic kind of almost programming 101 type classes like tic-tac-toe and stuff. But we would welcome more in-depth game development. Especially because it sounds like something that you are passionate about that got you into coding in the first place.
Yeah, I definitely want to get back to game development in the future, but not in the short future. Like when, for example, the IoT framework that I'm building at the moment is like version 1 ready, then we can start to think about, okay, let's begin another big project. Until then, game development takes really a lot of time, so it's on a stop for now.
Well, it's great to hear about your projects, and I'm glad you are staying focused on your IoT stuff. Keep us posted and keep writing. Your articles are helping a lot of people.
Thank you very much.
All right, cheers. All right, well, I'll just grab the camera. Whee! So Matt's over here. We're gonna take a big group photo, and then we're gonna gracefully leave. Because
we do have guidelines for the leaving. I'll brief you on after the stream.
Okay, great.
Cool.
Hey, everybody. Hey, we're going to take a very quick group photo, and then we're going to follow the leaving guidelines and make sure that we leave the place in a good condition. Yeah, everybody come over here. And, I mean, this wall is so colorful. I love but we can get maybe the window and the wall in the shot, unless somebody has an even better place to shoot it.
How about a couple strong, burly people grab that table and that table, move it out of the way so that we have spot there. Can you while I do it? Oh, I said strong and burly. Why are you there?
All right. All right, we're going to take a group photo. Okay, taller people in the back, medium people in the middle. I think, yeah, or we could.
Wait, we are still missing a camper.
Yeah.
We went to the bathroom.
Okay.
Can we just wait for the guy that is in the bathroom?
No. Yeah, we have a camper who's in the bathroom. Hey. Eduardo. Wait.
Doesn't want to. And a couple more here. On this side. And then one this side. And then back again. And then one smile. And then one Dutch angle so that we can all be cool.
All right.
I flipped the camera once.
All right.
No, I'm good.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in for the stream. We got to talk to a lot of exciting people doing exciting work, both within the freeCodeCamp community and just working as developers. So I hope you all have a beautiful evening. We're going to chop all this up into a great highlight video that we'll post. If you missed any of it, you can catch the highlight video. And from Dublin, signing off, have a beautiful day.